Stillwater, Oklahoma, partners. It's homecoming, led by the Sea of Orange Parade. And Brandon Whedon leads out the Cowboys, preparing to throw to his All-American wide receiver, Justin Blackmon. And how about all-conference running back Kendall Hunter, prepared to go as well? Well, the fans say, who will receive the paddle of the week? The Husker fans say, not us. We're down here 10,000 strong from the heartland. Bo Pelini's group, a smothering defense, but can they stop the best offense in the conference and the best scoring team in the conference? Don't expect the Cowboys to be hospitable just because it's homecoming. Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by K Jewelers. We are in Stillwater for today's game between Nebraska and Oklahoma State. Here are the standings in the Big 12 Conference. First, we look to the north. Missouri and Kansas State. Nebraska sits at 1-1. Of course, Missouri undefeated. And how about the south? Both the Sooners and the Oklahoma State Cowboys undefeated in conference play and also in overall play. There's Nebraska preparing to come on the field, and this has been a difficult place for them to play. They have not won here in Stillwater since 1995. And out of the tunnel to the north end, here come the Cowboys. Let's go down to the sidelines. Here's Janine Edwards with Coach Pelini.
And Ron, it was a rough game last week for Nebraska quarterback Taylor Martinez. Bo, what will you be watching for in the first few offensive series in terms of his comfort level?
Oh, Taylor's ready to go. He had a great week of preparation, and I think he's going to have a big game for us.
And nobody has really been able to hold the Cowboys to a one-dimensional offense yet this year. Can you guys do that, and how? Well,
that's a challenge we have. They got a good football team over there, some good weapons, and if we execute defensively, we'll be just fine.
It's a very highly anticipated matchup between your corners and a great receiving core. Tell us what you're expecting to see.
I'm expecting our guys to play the way they've been coached to play, and our guys don't back down to anybody. They're ready to play some great football.
Have a great game. Good luck.
Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Ed Cunningham, and welcome to homecoming in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Edward, you saw Nebraska last week. Were there any weaknesses that really were exposed that could hurt them for the remainder of the season, or at least for right now?
Well, they knew coming into the season with Taylor Martinez he was going to take some lumps, just a redshirt freshman, second year in the program. And in the last 4 games, there's been a little bit of a pattern emerging. Much like his team in general, plays much better on the road at Washington, at Kansas State, and then South Dakota State at home, 3 turnovers, and then last week against Texas, the Longhorns did a great job hemming him in. Now here's the problem, though, if you're Oklahoma State. I'm pretty sure we're in Stillwater, so if it goes according to how it's gone for Martinez, he should have a fine game.
Quickly, let's talk about Oklahoma State. They are 6-0, and their figures, particularly offensively, are gaudy. But let's be real honest. The team they're playing today, Nebraska, is not the first 6 teams that they faced.
But these guys are ready to play them. Brandon Whedon yesterday was telling us he studied more tape this week than he studied all week because of the man coverage. Justin Blackmon, the breakout star in college football, leads the country at wide receiver. And Kendall Hunter, to me, the health of him, last year struggled with a foot injury. He's been really instrumental in getting the run game going for Oklahoma State.
Let's go back down to Janine. She is with Coach Gundy.
And Ron, an interesting matchup because it's the best pass defense versus the second best offense. How do you attack such a great defense like the Huskers?
Well, we got to run our system. You know, they're very good on defense, but we got a few guys that can make some plays. We just got to go out and execute.
How do you plan to limit Nebraska's yards on the ground? They've got a persistent run game and a quarterback that can scramble.
Yeah. Well, you have to be physical up front, and you got to run to the football and tackle.
Have a great game, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kickoff coming up from Stillwater in just a moment. Well, in the middle of the stadium and also in the end zone to the north, it is a sea of orange. But as I mentioned in the tease, there are 10,000 Husker fans who were down here. So toward the right end zone, which is the south, there are lots of folks in red down there. Kunalik will kick it off, and this one is underway. Undefeated Oklahoma State against 5-1 Nebraska, and it's Joseph Randall. And whoa, is he hit just across the 15-yard line, and that is Eric Martin, who got downfield with some unbelievable coverage. So it's time to take a look at the quarterback profile. Brandon Whedon.
Young man that gave minor league baseball a try for a few years, came back, and it was funny. Last year when we met with the coaches, they said even with Zach Robinson there, Brandon Whedon maybe had a better arm, but of course you weren't going to pull Zach Robinson because of his productivity, but he's off to a great start in his college career.
First snap, and they'll go shotgun, and it's Hunter to the right side. Small opening, but he is going to have about 5 yards as Gomes makes the tackle for Nebraska.
And of course Oklahoma State is one of the teams that goes with very fast tempo offensively. Dan Holgerson, the new offensive coordinator.
Nothing doing on this play as Joseph Randall is tripped up. And here are some impact players.
Another guy that they're getting into the fold is Joseph Randall, a true freshman, had 22 touches last week. And then for Nebraska defensively, Prince Amakamara, who will line up across from many of the receivers, but you think he's going to get Blackman quite often, I would assume.
Third down, Nebraska showing blitz, and they come right up the middle. Quick pass, far sideline, got single coverage, and the ball is going to fall incomplete. Tracy Moore, the man that the pass was intended for.
Well, Oklahoma State on that one saw Amakamara over there lined up. I'm a little surprised that it was Moore on that side and not Justin Blackman. Blackman was on the trip side into the boundary, and perfect coverage that time by Amakamara.
Quentin Sharp, who was a sophomore out of Mansfield, Texas, in the game to punt, and he boots this one, and with the wind, wow, this is a pretty good shot. All the way back inside the 20, is now going to bounce and go into the end zone, and his heart stopped for a moment because that thing looked like it was going to die on the 1 yard line. 78 yards in the kick. So time to look at the player profile on Taylor Martinez.
And I'm sure Husker Nation very interested in how he starts out. He was benched against Texas, got very frustrated, started pressing, but like we said in the open, tends to play much better on the road. I think maybe just a little more relaxed. All of those bright lights not quite on him like they are in Lincoln.
But right now, the Cowboys are showing 8 men in the box, and they go straight ahead with the handoff to Halou. And Roy will have 1, maybe a yard and a half, and that's it. It's Ori Lemon making his first tackle of the day. And believe me, it won't be his last. We'll call his name a lot.
And this is the first team Oklahoma State has played this year that huddles. Talking to Bill Young, the defense coordinator, said we had to get used to our guys actually waiting for the offense to go.
Too tight in alignment here, and a one-man out route, and the ball is overthrown and is incomplete. Niles Paul, the intended receiver. More impact players.
Well, for Nebraska, because of the burst on the scene of Taylor Martinez, you sometimes forget they have a wonderful senior running back, Roy Halou Jr., who may break into the top 10 all-time at Nebraska rushing today. And then defensively, you already mentioned Ori Lemon. He leads the nation with almost 9 solo tackles a game. Missed last year with an ACL and said, I learned how much I miss football not being able to play for an entire season.
Third down, the line to make is the 30. Blitz coming all out from the Cowboys, and he's going to keep it. Martinez stumbling, and he threw the ball. Now, from where he threw the football, he was beyond the line of scrimmage, and he had a legal lineman downfield.
Yeah.
There is no flag on the play.
That was I think Line of scrimmage is about the 22. Well, no, he stayed behind it, and those linemen were back. So, yeah, it just looked bad, didn't it?
Well, here's going to keep it. And gets by a tackle. Still running. And Henry is finally going to be stopped at the 48-yard line. He is the outstanding place kicker for them. Especially punter. But because he kicks a rugby-style kick, peeled off there, no one was out to cover him.
Watch as he rolls out. He's going to do the rugby kick, and he's reading the end. And it's almost like a run-pass option for a quarterback. He's going to kick it, and because there is no containment, everyone turns to run. He wisely pulls it down, and when you have a guy who's that good, Bo Pelini's letting him take a couple chances.
Quick out pass, and on the quick screen, Mike McNeil makes the reception, and he will be stopped after a gain of 4.
I don't think if the kid didn't have as much as they do Alex Henry. And we were talking to Bo Pelini. He said, I wish all of my guys had his approach, just low-key, calm. But he wouldn't let another guy do that, I don't think.
He said he drives us nuts because he is so low-key, you know? He said sometimes get a little antsy or something. Hello tries to turn the corner, and he does, and is going to be hit with a nice tackle, ending his way at around the 46-yard line. That's Broderick Brown.
Well, this looks like these numbers look like the mid-'80s Nebraska teams where they became so dominant in their rush game. But the one chink in the armor, they knew with Taylor Martinez coming in that they were not going to have a polished passer. They went with him over Zach Lee and Cody Green, but he brings so much speed onto their offense, they figured it was worth it.
Martinez, quick looking pass over the middle, got it complete, missed tackle, and he's off. Brandon Kenny is going to take it the distance, and that is going to be 45 yards.
Well, this is just a slant. Kenny, one of the receivers who had a drop last week for a touchdown against Texas. They estimated 4 balls were dropped that could have been touchdowns, and this, the first career touchdown for Brandon Kenny on a very nice throw from Taylor Martinez.
Henry with the extra point attempt, and as we go to break, one more look at a 45-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Kenny, and Hedgepeth is a man who missed the tackle right there. 7-0. Huskers jump on top. Well, you're looking at the man that is responsible for picking up a big 4th down play. Henry on a fake kick went 27 yards to move the sticks, and the result is a nice drive. And the Huskers go on top 7-0.
And Taylor Martinez got a little lucky there. You know, he threw that ball up on that 3rd down. I'm sure some Cornhusker fans had their heart in their throat after last week's.
I'm sure Coach Watson did as well. Randall, Joseph Randall, a true freshman. And Ed had him listed as one of his impact players as Kanalik makes the tackle. Janine, let's check in with you on the sideline.
Well, Ron, when Nebraska came off the field after their initial offensive series, Dana Holgerson, offensive coordinator, had some words with Brandon Weeden. He said, you've got to keep up with game tempo, guys, for the Cowboys. Keep up the game tempo. He had told us that when Weeden first came back from playing baseball, he said he thought he was on the pitcher's. He thought he had all kinds of time. We had to get him into more efficiency.
Okay. That is what they remind him of. You're not on a pitcher's mound. You don't have that kind of time. Pass up the far sideline, and again single coverage, and the ball just a little too high, and that was Justin Blackman, the intended receiver.
That is a premier matchup with Blackman, just a sophomore, 2nd year, got to play some last year because of the suspension of Des Bryant, and Amukamara, who is listed as number 3 on Mel Kiper's big board for April's draft, a high NFL prospect.
Hunter with a running play, has 5, has 10, and he's off. Inside the 35, and he's all the way down to the 31-yard line. That's 29 yards on the carry from scrimmage as the Cowboys spread them out and then ran right between the tackles.
Well, and Lane Taylor, the right guard, did a wonderful job on Baker Steinkuhler, who had moved. He was on a slant. He made a great block that opened up a huge hole for Hunter.
Hunter again. Bounces it outside, gets by a tackler at the 20. He's down to the 15, and Alfonso Denard will get credit for the tackle, and then we'll say at the 15-yard line. Nick Martinez on this play, number 75, is the man who got the key block to help pave the way. And now Jeremy Smith comes in at tailback. So the third tailback that we have seen in the first quarter from the Cowboys, and a timeout has been called. 7-0. Huskers on top, and the Cowboys are threatening. The walk around has been a homecoming tradition at Oklahoma State since the 1920s. In fact, over 40,000 people walked down University Avenue to see the Greek systems displays. For Hunter on this drive, 2 carries, 46 yards.
And a missed tackle by Nebraska in the open field there by Anthony West. Remember, that plagued them last week against Texas.
Remember, I mentioned that total to you that the head coach was very upset about. And Bo said that he went back and looked at the video, obviously, several times, and that they had 28 missed tackles, meaning initial contact was made, and he thought the tackle should have been made, and it didn't happen.
They had Texas had 209 yards rushing last week, and they think about half of that came after contact.
No gain on that last play by Hunter, so it's 2nd down and 10. But they have the ball just inside the 15-yard line. Swinging out of the backfield, the old circle route there with Kendall Hunter. And that was a nice job defensively. As not being sold out on the thing was Levante David. He stayed with it every inch of the way.
David, a young man who just got to campus in August, junior college transfer. Still trying to figure out their system, but they said he has wonderful instincts. He had great coverage there on Hunter, nowhere to go with the ball.
Yet so far, Brandon Whedon, not a great start. He is 0 of 3. See if he can connect right here. Throws for the end zone, and that ball is going to be missed badly. Well overthrown. Closest man to it was Josh Cooper.
You know, in meeting with Dana Holgorsen yesterday, the new offensive coordinator, first year, came up from Houston. He was talking about how we've been open all year. No disrespect to the teams we played, but they are not Nebraska. Right now, Whedon is not finding anybody open. That one he had to throw away because he had double coverage.
Well, Dan Bailey, who is perfect, is going to try one from 31 yards squarely in the middle of the field. And it is where they all have been, right down the middle. 7-3 our new score. We'll return in a moment. Homecoming here in Stillwater, 7-3 our new score. And now let's take a look back at our Chick-fil-A. Now let's take a look back at our Chick-fil-A drive recap.
Well, it all started with Alex Henry taking off when he saw he had green grass and picking up the first down. And then, of course, the touchdown to Brandon Kenny to get 7 on the board for Nebraska.
Niles Paul is tripped up just shy of the 30-yard line. And this will tell you a lot about the way Nebraska has started today compared to last week's game at home against Texas. Their longest play last year against Texas, or last week I should say, 23 yards. Today, a 27-yard run and a 45-yard touchdown pass.
And it's something that Bo Pelini and his staff are looking into, why they tend to play so much better on the road than they do at home. But it's been that way for 2 years now.
Pressure, and Martinez throws it away. That was Rashedi Jones, the junior out of Dallas, who was applying the pressure, number 99. And he is starting his first game today.
It's amazing the difference between Nebraska huddling, more traditional type of offense with how they call their plays, and then when Oklahoma State gets it, you can't even catch your breath because of how fast they go.
Burkhead into the backfield at tailback. Martinez is going to keep it, and then he is going to be gang tackled after a gain of 4. Ori Lemon, first man to get there, and then Justin Gent. So it'll be 3rd down Nebraska, and they'll need to get it to the 36-yard line. Huskers lead it by 4 if you just joined us, 7-3. They took the opening drive, and on the huge play by Henry on a fake punt of 27 yards, that set up a 45-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Kenny from Taylor Martinez, and that's how the Huskers got their 7. Ball is loose. I think the Cowboys have recovered it. They have. Ori Lemon is the man who caused the turnover.
Well, and this started up front for Oklahoma State. Bill Young calls a defensive line stunt. And Jones goes unblocked as he comes to the inside. A complete blown assignment on the right side of that line. And Martinez, he never really got that ball tucked away. And that ball was recovered by Darius Hart, a backup defensive end, but he just never got that ball properly tucked away.
You could see number 41 go by him, having grabbed at the football, and he raked it free. 10, 15, still on his feet, and inside the 15-yard line, P.J. Smith saved to touchdown. And boy, the Cowboys are rushing the football just like it's what they're supposed to do. It doesn't matter what team is on the other side of the line. Very quickly, back in play, and Hunter, as a flag comes down, Hunter was hit behind the line of scrimmage by Jared Crick.
Yard penalty, still first down. Well, this offensive line coming into the season replacing 4 starters, including first-round draft pick Russell Okung, and a lot of people think, I mean, they were picked as low as 6th in the Big 12 South by some publications because of all the guys they lost. But this offensive line, as the season has gone on, has been opened. That's just some huge holes, especially early in this game, including last week against Texas Tech. They did the same thing.
They're going to fake to him this time, looking over the middle. Whedon going to be hit, and he'll be sacked at the 31-yard line. Jared Crick is the man who got to him. Now, you had a first down at the 14-yard line. And of all the things you did not want or need is to be sacked. If nothing else, just throw the football away, because that is expensive real estate when you were so very close.
And no one is getting open against this secondary, one of the best in the country. But you're going to have some type of pass game to keep this defense honest, though.
Well, nothing here. It's going to be Crick along with Cameron Meredith combining on the stop for the Huskers.
And you're in, you mentioned Dan Bailey, their kicker, is perfect on the year. You're in his range roughly. They like to be at the 27 or in with him. So you might want to try a throw-up ball to Blackman, see if you can't get one.
Whedon, far side, got a man out there, and he incomplete. Almost intercepted by P.J. Smith, thinking that maybe his receiver could run underneath it, but it was a little too lazy, allowing the very quick and athletic Smith to get in front. See, his man is open, but because he threw it short and put it up there, well, Cooper had no chance of coming back and making the pick. This field goal attempt is going to be 44 yards. It's not a big effort for him, and he knocks it home. 7-6 our new score. So we are back. Taylor Martinez prepares to take his offense back out on the field. As you're watching college football presented by Kay Jewelers. 7-6 our score with 6:40 remaining opening quarter.
And one of the things that Bo Pelini and Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, talked with us about this week was the reason they benched him last week is Martinez starts to put too much on himself, tries to do too much. And you saw it on that last one. He's just trying to get the extra yard. He doesn't tuck the ball away. So This is a very explosive player, but they were not afraid to pull him out of a game.
The kick return 1 yard deep. That's going to be Paul. Niles Paul, and boy, he's got an acre to run right here. One man to beat, and he just beat him. Niles Paul, can he take it the distance? 10, 5, touchdown, yes. That's 100. He will get credit for 100 yards. He caught it 1 yard deep.
Well, and that's Joe Okafor from the kickoff coverage. He's down.
A flag across the way at the 21-yard line. Now, the interesting thing is the return came to this side of the field and then barely.
Dead ball foul. Delay game. Sideline warning on Nebraska. 5-yard penalty on the point after.
Tom Walker, the referee today, making the call.
And Okafor was caught up in a cross block. You know, that's one of the things with all of the talk around the NFL this week with suspensions and everything else. But kickoffs are such a dangerous play because you just can't see where people are coming from. But what a wonderful cut by Niles Paul to cut back against the grain and accelerate. And a young man who had a difficult. Yeah, that's a bad hit. You know, this is something that we just have to start. That's Eric Martin taking out Okafor, and that was targeting a defensive player. Now, it's tough to see that for the officials, but this is just, it's an unnecessary part of this game. We have to start getting this out of this sport. That is Andrew Hudson wearing a different jersey. They had 90 listed as Okafor, but you know, this is just a part of the game. We have to get out of here. That helmet to helmet when a guy's not looking is, and I know everyone says, oh, it's a tough sport. Now that's unnecessary.
That has nothing to do with tough.
Nope.
That's one of the reasons I'm beginning to become anti-free safety, because they hit people who are vulnerable constantly, and everybody says, whoa, what tough guys. Yeah. Anybody's tough when you're hitting somebody who can't defend themselves. So let's go away for 30 seconds. 13 for Nebraska, 6 for Oklahoma State. So we're back, 6:27 left to play in his opening quarter as Hudson continues to be attended to. And Iowa State on the road in Austin, Texas. What a huge game for the Cyclones. I don't know how long it's been since they won in Austin, but they did today, 28-21. Colorado leading Tech in the second quarter. K-State and Baylor, nothing to report as yet. And let's check in with Robert Flores in New York City.
Thanks a lot. I'll be here all afternoon updating you on games around the country, starting with this Taco Bell studio update. Pair of undefeateds, Auburn and LSU. Cam Newton pulls over a defender, goes in from 2 yards out. Auburn leading LSU 7-0 late first quarter. Run.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm surprised at that. I think LSU will give them quite a tiff in that game because LSU's defense probably is as good as anybody in the country if you want to list a top 5 defenses. But their offense against the Auburn Tigers, I don't know. That probably is the difference in that ball game. Would you think?
Yeah, Cam Newton has just been a sensational player. How many breakout stars have we had on offense, including Justin Blackmon? It's nice to see Hudson up.
Let me clarify one thing. I said it's been a long time, and I just found out, if ever, that's the first time Iowa State has ever won in Austin, Texas. 28-21. You see Hudson. You can tell he is. They're helping him get the cobwebs away. And a reminder that tonight the Oklahoma Sooners try to remain atop the BCS standings when they head to Columbia, Missouri, and face the 11th ranked undefeated Tigers. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines at ABC at 8 Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific. Janine, you have a quick update for us.
Just preliminary report, guys. They are bringing the cart out now to transport Hudson off the field, and he had back surgery last year. That's why they are being extra cautious with him and not wanting to move him too quickly right now. And if he is out for the game, they lose somebody who plays on 3 different teams, because he also plays on punt return and field goal extra point. But he is up on his feet now. That's a great sign.
And I think that this needs to be a message. When we see things like this and we see the hit by Martin, which was clearly illegal, and he's over there yucking it up with teammates, but I'm telling you this, we have got to get this out of this game. And I think a lot of it has to do with the safety of the helmets. Those new helmets that these players wear, they feel like they're invincible and they can lower their head and hit other players. I almost feel like at times we need to put leather helmets back on some of these guys and see what kind of tackles they could make and blocks they can make. They don't have the protection of this modern headgear.
So a 5-yard penalty for delay of game, a bench penalty against the Huskers, has been stepped off. As you see Hudson being taken off the field on the cart, and they will take him to the X-ray room. 5 yards stepped off because of the delay of game, and the extra point will come from 5 yards further back. Henry will attempt it. This will be from the 15-yard line. And obviously that's a piece of cake for him. So now with 6:27 left to play, opening quarter, it is the Huskers 14 and the Cowboys 6. And now let's take a look at the BCS standings, brought to you by Tostitos.
You know, the game that jumped off at me when I looked at this, and I think TCU is a team that everyone ought to consider strongly because of the strength of the Mountain West. But this is not going to be easy sledding for them tonight against Air Force. And, Michigan State with a big comeback win. They were down on the road at Northwestern, so they stay in the conversation as well today.
You know what I really enjoy about the Air Force Academy? I think their offensive line coach does absolutely a magnificent job, because he can't have 280-pound people like everybody else, because they are cadets. And I'm telling you, they block like demons. I'm telling you, they really are fun to watch. Kanonic to kick it off. This is 1 yard deep. This is Thomas. So it's at the 24-yard line, and it's Eric Martin who made the tackle.
Now it's time for Brandon Whedon. He's seen this defense now twice and how good they are in the secondary. And he's 0 for right now, 0 for 5. And a lot of it has to do just because nobody's open. But he's now seen it twice. Let's see if he can dial it in a little bit.
Whedon, good protection. Right over the middle, got it complete. And it's probably what he needed more than anything. Throw a simple route that he's comfortable with and somebody's going to have open. Let him get a completion and then move on from there. Cooper caught it, and Hogg was right there to make the tackle. Hunter goes straight ahead. That's enough for the first down. Randall, I beg your pardon.
Joseph Randall, a young man, true freshman that they're trying to get in. Early in the season, Kendall Hunter was going 70 snaps a game, and they had to get somebody going, and Randall, very mature young man, has picked it up and played well.
Michael Harrison is in the ball game for Oklahoma State. Number 7. Keep an eye on him. He's a speedster at wide receiver. They give it to Hunter. Breaks off one tackle. Still fighting. He'll take it to the 40. That's going to be a gain of 5 yards. One other thing to notice about Michael Harrison is they have moved him to inside receiver, but he had to have surgery and pins put in a finger. And they said, boy, as soon as he gets healthy, they need him out there because of the pressure that he puts on the secondary. Whedon drills it. Has it complete. That's Blackman. First grab by Blackman.
And this is something with Whedon and Blackman going through the off season, through the spring and through the summer. Blackman did a wonderful job of coming back towards the ball. Mukamara had good coverage over the top. Blackman worked his way back, and Whedon fit in a nice ball there.
Here comes the safety blitz. Pass thrown, that's Cooper. And with that safety blitz, he was in the vacated area. And Ed, I thought he was the first guy out on the field.
Yeah, this is a great read by Whedon. Know you're going to get hit, but because they brought both a corner and a safety, I'm not sure that Nebraska called it that way. There's no way you're going to leave the slot receiver uncovered, and that's exactly what happened.
Hunter in the backfield, a first down again inside the 25. Cuts it back to the inside. How many people will he make miss? 2 on that run right there, and it's going to be good for a gain of 5 yards. Gomes on the stop.
And what did Holgorsen, the offensive coordinator, say? He always makes the first guy miss, and we've already seen that at least 4 or 5 times in this game. Someone looks like they're unblocked, and he makes a miss.
Compton is out, and Smith checks into the secondary. Ball. Did he get it? Yes, they're saying he caught it, and then stepping out of bounds, Josh Cooper.
Cooper, a young man who reminds a lot of people, especially Dana Holgorsen, who's at Texas Tech, of Wes Welker. Runs great routes, has good hands.
Cowboys continue the football relentlessly. This is Jeremy Smith, and Smith will take it for a couple of yards, then thrown back. Levante David on the stop.
Now, the whole reason that Smith and Randall have started to get in there is because they were wearing out Kendall Hunter. And as fast as they go, and as much as they do with their running backs, they have to rotate these guys.
The action got him in wide open in the flat. Out of bounds at the 4-yard line is Wilson Newman.
Who is a former tight end. Of course, they don't really have a tight end. He's been playing some defense. We haven't really seen him on film if you're Nebraska.
Whedon, this drive is 5 of 5 for 57 yards straight ahead. That's Jeremy Smith. He will not get it into the end zone.
That's what you get with a guy who's 27 years old. He comes out, he goes 0 for 5 to start. You get over, you talk to him a little bit, and then he goes 5 for 5 because he just doesn't let things affect him.
Right side, Smith, touchdown, Cowboys.
Well, this offensive line has just been pushing the white shirts around. And that time you saw 2 white shirts just get completely washed by, and a good read by the runner.
Bailey's extra point attempt is good. 2:39 left in the opening quarter. We already have 27 points scored, and it is the Huskers who lead it 14-13. Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin head to historic Martinsville Speedway, where they look to continue their pursuit of a Spread Cup title on ESPN tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Time.
This is not exactly the type of game Bo Pelini, of course, his background on defense. He was a starting safety at Ohio State. Has always coached on the defensive side of the ball. As a matter of fact, he played under Bill Young, the defensive coordinator now at Oklahoma State, while he was at Ohio State. But this is what you have to get used to in modern football. Just the way these offenses play, the athletes.
Let me tell you something. That drive right there, you talked about all of a sudden the quarterback who had been over was 5 for 5 for really nice yardage. They didn't have a third down. They had to convert on that drive. That's how efficient they were.
And meeting with Whedon, that's what he said. You know, I learned with all those reps I took as a pitcher in minor league baseball how to just get over it and move on.
Pooch kick this time. Going to be taken. And I started to say, Pooch kick's a wonderful thing, but if you let him break the first wave, hang on. There's a good look at Whedon right there.
Well, and I mentioned that Bo Pelini played at Ohio State, and of course when John Cooper was hired and brought in, he brought his defensive line coach Bill Young and promoted him to defensive coordinator. And Bo Pelini still takes about the exact same photo now as the head coach. If you put that side by side, he has that exact same look on his face in the media guide for Nebraska.
Bo, of course, his family from Northeast Ohio. Well, that's a nice run by Halu. Halu has got hit at the line of scrimmage, and then he bounces it outside, winds up picking up 6 yards on the play. Bo has always been a student of the game, and I have to think that with his relationship with Coach Stoops, the father of Bob Stoops, that he had his designs on the fact that he wanted to be a coach, and hopefully to make it up to a Division I coach, and he's done just that. Martinez faked keeping the ball. Halu will pick up the first down. Let's go back to New York. Robert Flores.
All right, Ron, this update brought to you by New York Life. And last 7 teams to beat an AP #1 in the regular season, just 3 and 4 the week after. Well, Wisconsin could care less about that. Scott Tolzien to Brady Ewing. They're up on top on Iowa 10-6.
Legate in the ball game at fullback, out there trying to block, and then here comes the pressure. I'll tell you, the Cowboys in this series right here, they may have finally picked up the first down after he got hit by 3 different people.
What a great effort by Halu. You know, he doesn't look that big, but he's very thick in his lower body. He's 220 pounds, and he was stopped about a half a yard short, kept spinning and churning. This guy's going to get a long look at the next level, and a lot of that has to do with he does all three things well. He runs the ball obviously well. He catches it well out of the backfield, and here's a very key one. He's a very good blocker. Blitz pickup, if he has to block for Martinez, all 3 phases of the game. And Rex Burkhead, almost the exact same, the backup running back.
Well, didn't quite get it. I'll tell you what, he reminds me of a certain running back for the Indianapolis Colts who played at LSU. That's right. He reminds me of, except as quick as Adai is, I'm not sure Adai could go 100 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it brings the whole package.
And I don't think there's any doubt you go here and you go straight ahead. Quarterback sneak, it's a couple of inches. Right decision on the road by Bo Pelini.
Short on this Cowboy defense. Can they hold them up? 4th down. Here it comes. And Martinez gets it easily. James Thomas defensively for the Cowboys.
Well, you had all 4 defensive linemen in 4-point stances, both hands on the ground. They pinched inside, and they didn't. Oklahoma State did not bring anybody off the edge for contain. Martinez bumped into his offensive line, saw a big hole there, and that was a little too easy, actually.
A minute and 10 seconds and counting left to play in his opening quarter. It is probably, as Ed had mentioned, a little bit higher scoring affair than both coaches might have thought. Martinez wanted to go down the left side, nothing there. Now he's going to run it. Has 10, has almost 15 yards on this play. He'll be shoved out of bounds at the 31 by Broderick Brown.
Well, we were just talking about Roy Halu Jr. Watch as he comes out and goes in, and he's going to be the reason that Martinez is able to pick up the first down. Good job by Martinez. It's not there. You've got to go. But watch the block downfield by Halu on the linebacker, James Thomas. That's what sprung him. Nice job.
So it's a 1st and 10. New line of scrimmage, the 31 of Oklahoma State. And he gets the handoff. Short yardage, maybe a gain of 3. And let's go down to Janine. You have an update on Hudson.
And Ron, Andrew Hudson has been in the locker room being evaluated by the team physicians, and head trainer Rob Hunt told me because of the force of impact taken to his back and his head, he will not be returning to the game.
Okay, Janine, that probably, it's good news that he is okay, but probably even better news that they're not going to take a chance on putting him back on the field. So as we prepare for the second quarter, here are 3 of the touchdowns that happened in that opening quarter. That's Brandon Kenny. And now this Touchdown by Hunter. Niles Paul with that other score. So we are back. First play of the second quarter. Nebraska from the 29-yard line. That one's going to go for very short yardage with Burkhead, the ball carrier. Now, for those of you sitting at home, I want to know how many people, put your right hand up, how many people just knew that there would be at least 27 points scored in the first quarter of this game? Did you?
No. Well, I mean, Oklahoma State coming in, we knew had the big offense. But a couple of things for Nebraska. It's small, but Taylor Martinez, when he took off on that run for the first down, when there wasn't something there, last week he didn't do that. So you think he's starting to learn a little bit. If it's not open, just put your foot on the accelerator because the car you have goes awfully fast. So they had to be pretty happy to see that.
I'll tell you, Cowboy fans have got to be terribly excited about the fact of what they saw on that last series, because Whedon, after going 0 for the first part of the first quarter, he really showed his maturity, which is something we talked at length with him about yesterday. And he even jokingly said that when Mr. Steinbrenner was alive, and he was first player taken by the Yankees when he spent the 5 years in the minors, and I said, well, did he come around? And he said he was always around. And if you don't think that wasn't pressure, it was pressure.
Pressure. And there was a Cornhusker down. It was left tackle Jeremiah Searles. And they've already lost a left tackle. Mike Smith hurt his leg during camp, and he's lost for the season. So Yoshi Hardrick is most likely going to be the replacement, but they're starting to get down to the third string level there at that left tackle position.
So they take Searles to the sideline to check him over, redshirt freshman, Lakewood, Colorado. By the way, every play on this drive by the Huskers has been a rushing play. Burkhead remains in the ball game at tailback. And he swings out. Martinez going to run it. Inside the 20, spinning at the 15, at the 10, and he'll take it down to the 1 yard line. James Thomas finally put a stopper on him. It was Rory Lemon who had a shot, and he kind of blew him up, just got by him.
Well, and that's what Martinez brings to you. This is a straight drop back pass. He is not a pure passer yet. He's still working on that part of his game. But if you get out of your rush lanes, the defensive line, and leave that big of a hole, and there's the receivers are that far downfield, the separation between your secondary linebackers and Martinez is just too great for that type of acceleration.
Burkhead in the ball game at tailback. And they fake it to him. Throws it out in the flat, and he's got it to Legate, the fullback. And the fullback gets rewarded. You see the excitement by not only Tyler Legate, the junior, but also by his teammates, because those guys block and they work very hard at other things, but they don't always get the football to score.
And a really nice call by Sean Watson, too. Went with the play fake. Looked like it was going to be an isolation lead with Legate leading the way, and he just sneaks out into the flat. So hard for a defense when you're playing against a team that runs it this well to get somebody over there in time to cover that guy.
Henry with the extra point attempt. Flags are down. Tyler Legate.
Offense, number 50, 5-yard penalty. Retreat try.
So 5 yards will be stepped off against the Cornhuskers. Henry got it. 14:07 left until halftime. And the new score is the Cornhuskers 21 and 13 for the Cowboys. One more look at the pass to Legate for the touchdown. So we are back in Stillwater, and the scoring fest continues. What would you do, Ed, if you're the Cowboys?
Well, they came out, and Brandon Whedon looked good. The run game is working sensationally for Oklahoma State, so you still got to continue to feed Kendall Hunter because that just forces Nebraska coming down. But Wheaton really seemed to settle in. So as they have all year, continue to mix that run and pass, and I think they'll be fine.
Kononuk prepares to kick it off, and this time he has the breeze at his back. And it's a very good kick. This is going to go about 4 yards deep. Muffed the ball, and now he will take a knee. Well, let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
For Nebraska, wonderful special teams play so far. Alex Henry decides instead of the rugby punt, nobody's home, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the first down. Nebraska went down and scored on that drive, and then Niles Paul goes 100 yards for a kickoff return. Then the offense started getting into the act with a nice long drive to make it 21.
Cowboys from the 20. Wheaton hands it off, and Hunter is going to take it forward. Interesting thing about Hunter, he looks like he's just not doing that much, but that's 5.5 yards on that play. And the other observation, and I want to see if you agree with this. Now that they're using Randall and Jeremy Smith just on a regular basis, I think a fresher Kendall Hunter looks even better.
Well, they were going to wear him out. They were absolutely going to wear him out if they didn't develop those two young running backs.
That's in the flat, and that's Cooper. And Cooper not only will have the first down, he'll take it to the 35-yard line.
Cooper's a guy that, in talking to Wheaton yesterday, just absolutely loves this guy. He runs great routes. When you hear people say he gets on toes before he makes his break, that means he has a great feel. He gets right up on the defender, never shows which way he's going to break, breaks late, and the defender can't keep up.
Play action, Wheaton looking up the far side. And the ball is caught by Blackman. And McNamara got caught. And it is, you hear us talk about it every week. You got one-on-one like that, underthrow the ball, and the defensive back does not have a chance.
Well, because it's perfect coverage. And look at Oklahoma State. I like this. Make the big play, get right back after it.
Kendall Hunter. Right side, he'll have 4. Now, that is 7 in a row by Wheaton.
And doesn't that just remind you of 2008 when Des Bryant and Zach Robinson were throwing the ball that high up? Almost, it's every time they got into the red zone. You're starting to get that feel that with Wheaton and Blackman, you have that same wide receiver quarterback type of play.
Hunter is out, and Randall back in. Pass in the front, it is caught, and now a flag from deep downfield. Tracy Moore, the receiver.
Pass interference on the offense, number 97, 15-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
I believe they meant 87 Moore, who got called for, I guess, pushing off. You know, I didn't see much as the ball was getting over there. It must have been earlier in his route, but that is a humongous penalty. You had first down inside the 15, and now 2nd and 21.
On 2nd down, great protection. Now delivers the safety valve. The ball is tipped, and it's intercepted. Boy, tipped balls just turn into absolute disasters. And it's Eric Hogg who will make the interception. That's the first turnover by the Cowboys. So Hagg gets the pickoff, Ed, at the 34-yard line.
Well, that was just wonderful coverage by the linebacker, David. And Eric had the big play last week, the 95-yard punt return for a touchdown against Texas that made it very interesting.
Hagg with the interception, and the Huskers have got it right back. Martinez going to keep this one. He'll go for short yardage. Now, put an asterisk by a couple of things. Driving down here a while ago with the quarterback, and he took a big sack, and they wound up with a situation attempt. Here they don't get an opportunity because of a mistake with an offensive pass interference, and the way their offense is clicking, both of those could have been, well, let's say scores anyway.
Yeah, and not a great throw by Wheaton. A little behind his receiver and allowed the defender to get in there and knock it down.
Second down. That ball is dropped by Connor Reed.
And Reed, a young man who has really stepped up his game, has great ability. They moved Mike McNeil into the slot so they could get Reed and Cotton into the game more often at tight end.
Nebraska's 2 conversions on third down, which they have right now. A 45-yard touchdown pass and a 26-yard run. Out in the flat. Got it complete to Helu. And he's going to be short of the first down here. They will not convert it.
Well, that was good coverage by Justin Gent, the weak side linebacker. He saw that Helu was intended right out of the gate, and he had good pursuit and got over there because as he did, Helu can cut that up, and he would have picked up the first down.
Well, this, if you remember, since the first one was a fake, this is officially their first punt. And he'll kick it. And it will go out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. So let's take a timeout. 21-13, Huskers on top. And I bet you didn't know this one. Quad Graphics right here in Stillwater, Oklahoma has been the printing home to ESPN the magazine since the periodical's inception. In fact, over 2 million copies are printed per issue.
Pretty good piece of business for that local company. They lost Rolling Stone magazine because of a change of format. Picked up ESPN the magazine. Good deal.
Hunter, 25, and all of a sudden he's out for the first down, and it's going to be a gain of about 13 yards on the play.
And he's nipping on the heels of Barry Sanders for number 4 all-time rushing here at Oklahoma State. Of course, Sanders didn't start until his last year after backing up Thurman Thomas, but man, he is so good with balance and putting his hand on the ground.
11 carries, 106 yards, and he's loose again. He just broke it. 10, 15, counted off at 16 yards.
Well, and he is now ahead of Barry Sanders at number 4 all-time rushing Oklahoma State. And this is a guy who last year could barely play with a foot injury after over 1,500 yards in 2008. How high would he be on that list if he was healthy last year?
No, they substitute for him again, as they have. Play action, going to go deep. Single coverage. Blackman, and that's going to be pass interference. Amukamara. You know what? I know he's got great credentials, but, well,
he got run by on this one. Blackman goes right by him, and right at the last minute, watch the right hand on the shoulders, pulls it back. Can't blame him, he's beat. Amukamara was beat on that play, and you know, in the college game, it's only a 15-yard penalty, not a spot foul. And Amukamara was beaten by a step. Blackman made a wonderful move at the line of scrimmage. This is a fine young talent with great work ethic. Everyone around this program talks about how hard he works.
Whedon hands it off to Randall. Randall gets butted pretty hard at the line of scrimmage, but he picked up 3. That's Ricky Thanars.
And there's a Nebraska defender down, and this is a guy, Levante David, that they cannot lose. They've already lost Sean Fisher, another linebacker with an ankle injury, who was a starter last year. Will Compton, who's been battling a broken bone in his foot, is back, but they can't lose this young man.
So let's take a break right now. 21-13, Huskers on top. So you see the injury right here. Levante David, watch what happens.
And this is Ricky Thanars. Look at his helmet. Look at the angle of his body as he comes in with his head down. We already saw Eric Martin, the linebacker, knock out a Cowboy with his low helmet. We have got to fix this. You're hurting your own players. You're hurting the other team. Guys have got to start raising their helmets up and not leading with their headgear.
Whedon out of the backfield, and that's going to wind up to Randall and a gain of maybe 3 yards in the play.
And another thing, you know, the entire discussion this week, nobody ever focused on how bad that technique is. When you teach a young man how to tackle, it's almost like playing defense in basketball. You have to be on balance with your head up so that if someone makes a move, you can adjust. And it's just not good technique either.
3rd down, they need to take it to the 29. The Huskers are showing blitz. Let's see if they come with it. And somebody moved because we got whistles. Either that or timeout was called.
Timeout. Oklahoma.
And now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Mike Gundy is one of 17 NCAA head coaches currently leading his alma mater. Who has been at his school for the most consecutive seasons?
Do you get extra credit if you can name all 17?
Yeah, you really do.
It's pretty hard. We sat in our meeting the other night going through them. Mike Gundy, of course, part of one of the golden eras of Oklahoma State, had some wonderful players. Hartley Dykes, one of the best receivers in college football history, and of course Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders, Hall of Famers on both levels.
So it's 3rd down, and they need to take it to the 29-yard line. Nebraska was showing a blitz with 2 people on the right side of the defensive formation. That's the reason the timeout was called, and let's see what Whedon comes up with here. They run a draw play, and straight ahead, close to the 1st down, Hunter, but boy, I don't know. Well, let's wait and see here.
It looks like he got the spot. He's right on the 29. He runs so low. You know, his pad level, he's 5'8", 200 pounds, but I think he even plays a little lower than that.
Ruling on the field is forward progress for a 1st down. Previous play is under further review.
So Tom Referee says that this one is under review. Now, is this the folks upstairs wanted to do it?
Yep.
Did Bo want to have it looked at?
No, they from upstairs. Of course, the officials upstairs have a little button they can push, and there are 3 officials who wear a buzzer in case someone misses before the play goes. And of course, they have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn it. But it just always has that hand down. And of course, the only way you're going to overturn this is if you have an angle right to the side. It's just really tough to tell if where that ball is right when his knee hits. But, you know, Hunter does such a wonderful job putting those. You see running backs do that drill all the time where they put their hand down, run a circle, go run another circle. He must do that thing to death because he is so good. But I don't think they're going to be able to overturn this. There's no video evidence to say indisputably whether he got it or not. So this, I think, will stand as called on the field. And I think the hard part for Nebraska with this offense, let's take a little better look here. Well, again, I think maybe he was half a yard back from where it was spotted, but unless you're right on that line, really hard to overturn.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 1st down.
What I was going to say is, you know, the tough part trying to defend an offense like this, and that's the thing Dana Holgorsen said that's so much different for him than when he was at Texas Tech and at Houston, is how good their running game is. He said, I've never called 4% or more run plays, but the way we're running it, I have to. And it's just so tough when they spread it, can throw it, and can run it with this efficiency.
Whedon hands it off to Hunter. Almost broke the tackle to go along with what he has done all day today, and that is the first man normally misses him. It's Gomes who will put the stop on him this time, and a good sure tackle by him.
Well, he did everything he could to hold on to that leg, didn't he? It looked like Hunter was going to be able to get that leg out of there, and he couldn't.
Pass over the middle. That's Cooper. Breaks the tackle, and the spin move will take it down inside the 15-yard line. Levante Davis tackle.
Well, you can't cover a guy who can run routes like this. Cooper went to run and out, then shot back, and then cut right across the middle.
They're going to go ahead and start the play, and now I don't know what we're. Either somebody moved or this one's going to be under review, Ed.
Dead ball. Illegal substitution. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
But Cooper just ran an amazing route there in the slot. Put a triple move on the defender, and Whedon just stood there waiting, knowing he was going to come open.
So the penalty stepped off, and it is a first down inside the 10. Hunter turns it back upfield, and he will score.
This play works because Meredith gets hooked blocked by the left tackle, Martinez. Just goes inside Martinez. You don't have to do too much. Just make sure you get enough of him. But Meredith has to have contained there. And Martinez did a nice job jumping outside and getting him pushed back to the inside.
Extra point attempt is going to be good by Bailey. So we again have a one-point ball game. 28-20 with 7:58 left until halftime. So we'll take a break. So we are back, Stillwater, Oklahoma. It is homecoming 2010. And the Cowboys, they're trailing by 1, but I'll tell you, it's not for their lack of excitement. Every time they've had the football virtually, they have moved the football and, quite frankly, moved it with ease.
A lot of that has to do with Kendall Hunter. 15 carries, 141 yards. Knocks Barry Sanders down to 5th. I mean, no one's going to forget Barry Sanders around here for a long time, but that's pretty good company for Hunter to be on.
Now this one is a high pooch kick and a spinner. Millions of people watch the family from ordinary to extraordinary. And the year is just beginning. ABC's No Ordinary Family. All new Tuesday, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central on ABC.
You know, even though Nebraska's only down 1, you just get the sense that all the momentum right now is with Oklahoma State. Let's see how this young quarterback, Martinez, reacts. See if he's calm and lets it come to him, or if he starts pressing like he did against Texas last week.
From the 34, play action, and they throw the ball complete, and it's Niles Paul. Paul will break away from the tackler and take it way down the sideline to the 42.
We were talking to Sean Watson, and he said about Niles Paul, who had a very difficult week last week, dropped a few balls, a couple of touchdowns, took a lot of grief from the fans this week, but they said he had his mean face on. And Sean Watson said every time he's done that, he's usually come out and played well.
25 yards on the pass play to Paul. Martinez will keep it. Well, he picked up about 6 yards and then got whacked down hard. Robert Flores, let's check with you in New York.
All right, Ron, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, presented by Sprint. Battle of undefeateds in the SEC. Number 4 Auburn leading number 6 LSU. Cam Newton has a touchdown run. 10-3 Auburn. Northwestern up on number 7 Michigan State. 17-0 early, but Sparty comes back. Edwin Baker the touchdown run. Michigan State remains undefeated. Ron.
Okay, Robert, thank you. Boy, straight ahead on the handoff. And I mean, Ori Lemon, one of the first men, and then Rashedi Jones, and that play is blown up at the 35-yard line. Janine, let's go down to you on the sideline.
And appropriate that we talk about Ori Lemon, because when the Cowboys defense was on the bench, there was a very positive vibe on that bench. You guys, momentum going with the Cowboys now. Lemon went went down the line, talked to each and every player, and said, "It's easy, guys. Keep doing what we're doing." I think this was not a 1-point game at this point.
Or is an optimistic. Good reason for it. Short drop. And with the hit, the ball comes loose. Mike McNeil is the man who was the intended receiver. Is the man with the defensive play for the Cowboys.
Well, and now, and Alex Henry is just, well, he's the most accurate kicker in the history of Nebraska. This one's going to fire at probably 253 yards. This guy has 14 career field goals of 44 yards or more.
What he had a career-long 57 against Colorado in a game we did 2 years ago at Thanksgiving. So they have called a timeout. And time now to answer the Aflac trivia question. Mike Gundy is one of 17 NCAA head coaches currently leading his alma mater. Who has been at his school the most consecutive seasons? Well, the answer, Frank Beamer, 24 years at Virginia Tech. Now, for all those Chris Alt fans, yep, Alt is in his 26th year at Nevada, but a little stop-start. He became athletic director, then hired himself.
Pretty good hire.
Yeah.
He's doing okay in his third stint.
Anyway, so for consecutive years, it's Frank Beamer. Henry's longest, over 50 yards. He is 3 of 8. Ball is down, plenty of distance. And he nailed it.
Wow.
I'll tell you, it is funny to hear his head coach talk about him. He said it's not that he's aloof, but he just doesn't worry about anything.
I mean, that ball, you had no doubt when it left his foot. Just his heart rate is like 62 right there. Beats per minute. Just calm. Yep. Nailed it again. That is 15 straight field goals for Alex Henry. He's having a wonderful senior year, and he's improved as a punter. Obviously, in the running for the Luke Grosso Award, but if he continues punting like he has, maybe gets in the mix for the Ray Guy Award as well. That'd be something else, wouldn't it?
Boy, it would, and he certainly could, and you could see he leaned just a little bit, but you could see from the angle that actually it looked as though he split it right down the middle from the angle he was kicking.
Well, he had that 57-yarder against Colorado you mentioned, which ended up being the winning points in that game.
I'll never forget that.
That's a Nebraska record. He's the most accurate kicker in the history of Nebraska. And he's now tied for career field goals with Chris Brown. Having a pretty good career.
Well, this kick is 5 yards deep and no return. Randall takes it down to a knee. Cowboys will go from their own 20-yard line. They got 6:11 on the clock until halftime, which is absolutely nothing for them.
I was going to say, yeah, they don't have to worry about the clock here. And the way that they play offense, they're not worried about eating it either. They don't want a 6-minute 10-second drive for a touchdown. They just want to go down and get the touchdown. They will go fast, as they always do.
And they'll leave Randall in the ball game at tailback. True freshman out of Wichita, Kansas. Tough little athlete, and the guys say very mature. Flea flicker, got a man out there looking for Blackman, and he makes the catch. Gets by the defender, and he's going to score 80 yards, and it's a Mukamara who is beaten on the play. Cowboys trying to make it a 3-point lead. And Dan Bailey does just that. This is the first lead here on homecoming in Stillwater for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Well, it was a pitch back, and Blackman goes off slow. What a wonderful job. It's so nuanced, but as he came off the ball, you could see he was jogging, and Amukamara for 1 second let up. And then when Blackman stepped on the accelerator, Amukamara went to put his hands on him, and he missed. And then he never got back to position. Whedon couldn't quite get enough air on that ball, but Blackman is just so good at adjusting when the ball is in the air. But it was just, it's such a little thing, and they talked about Blackman and his work ethic, and it started last year at the bowl game, where he just realized, with Des Bryant obviously about to head into the NFL, everyone knew he had talent. He just got so focused and started working day in and day out with Whedon and the other receivers, but they just have such a feel for what they are doing. And again, it just takes me back to 2008 and watching Oklahoma State with Zach Robinson and Des Bryant.
I'll tell you who I'm really impressed with also. You got to give credit to the guy who threw the pass, because he started off horribly this afternoon, 0 for 5, and now he's 10 of 11 in the next stretch with a 1 touchdown, 196 yards. Pooch kick on the ground, better pick it up. Niles Paul, whoa. Bo Pelini would have gone into cardiac arrest if that ball had been just let to fall to the turf and nobody get on it.
Well, it was the perfect kick, because it lands. Cotton, who caught the last one, decides to let it go to Paul, and Paul just didn't get up there fast enough, and it takes a funny bounce. And boy, he got there right before the defender, Sean Lewis, was able to scoop it in.
We said the Cowboys had plenty of time to score. They sure did. Now the Cornhuskers have 5:50, and Martinez is sacked. Chinasa is the man who got in to make the stop. Hugo Chinasa.
There's Chinasa lined up, and remember there was an injury on that left side, but that was Searles, who was hurt, came back in, and the offensive line for Nebraska just not doing a good job picking up those line stunts where the two guys cross. That's the second time we've seen somebody come free.
Halou, the lone setback. Martinez going to keep it though. Tries to turn it back up. Broke 1 tackle. That was a pretty tough hit, and he got right by it. And the officials say giving forward progress to the 21.5-yard line. Ori Lemon is the man who was trying to strike him, and he got away from him.
Lemon does a good job and shows very good speed, good change of direction. But Martinez, really good physical job with his left arm, almost like a pass rush move to throw Lemon by him.
So it is 3rd down, and they need 8.5 yards to pick up the first down. Trailing for the first time this afternoon, 24-27. Martinez gets it out of bounds. James Thomas will be credited with the tackle, and the officials checking on Martinez because he got hit pretty hard as he headed out of bounds.
Good pursuit by Oklahoma State. You hear all the time.
I'll tell you what, it was a smart thing to try to pick up that extra 1.5 yards, but he really gave up his body for it.
And almost fumbled too.
Yeah. Here's Henry. Here's a boot. This is best of the day. Very high, very long. Caught back at the 14-yard line. And it's Cooper who finally will be stopped at the 28.
Well, we had talked about all the momentum going over to Oklahoma State, and Martinez not able to pick up a first down, puts his defense right back on the field.
They almost flipped the field, though. 58-yard kick and 14 on the return. Janine, let's check with you quickly.
Well, guys, there's a little girl watching at home who's been very eager to see Justin Blackmon hit the end zone. Her name is Olivia Hamilton. She's a 3rd grader who's battling cancer, and she gave Blackmon a pink bracelet to wear, and he's been wearing it ever since.
Mrs. Hunter going straight ahead. Well, she's got something really big to smile about after that 80-yard touchdown pass that he caught just a moment ago, and the last time that the Cowboys had the football.
You know, and a lot of people around the country who follow this game closely wondering how Blackmon would do against NFL-level defensive backs. Well, I think he's doing okay. He's got 129 yards receiving on 3 catches.
On the flat, this one is to Bowling. And Bo Bowling being pushed back. He'll give him forward progress to the 35. And for the Cowboys, 3rd down. And they'll need to pick up a couple. It's Haig again. He's had the last 2 tackles.
And Nebraska already, I'm seeing a lot of guys, and we're still in the first half, with that tired look. It's unbelievable how fast they come after you. And the white shirts looking a little gassed.
On 3rd down, pocket is rolled, pressure from behind, and now the ball is thrown and overthrown, and Meredith with some huge pressure, but a strange call on a play that you only need 2 yards of.
Yeah,
and you got running backs that are averaging well over 2 yards a carry.
A little shocked that Holgorsen wouldn't call some type of run play. Kendall Hunter has been seemingly picking up 4 or 5 yards every time. And I think sometimes if things are going so well, you think you can call anything and it's going to work. Yeah. Instead of just going back to
Illegal substitution on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
You know, his career long actually was his last punt, 78 yards.
That's Dana Holgorsen, his first year. And I give a lot of credit to Mike Gundy, who gave up play calling duty, figured he had to start tending more to his duties, managing the game, managing the program, and turned over the offense to Dana Holgorsen. How many guys do we see as head coaches?
2nd of the half, 30 seconds.
Well, the reason they had to call a timeout right there, because that substitution, they were either going to get caught with 12 on the field, or they were going to get called with a legal substitution, so they had to stop the clock and burn one of their own. Well, coming up, the Capital One halftime report with scores and highlights from across the country.
But going back to Mike Gundy giving up play calling duty, how many guys have we seen who become head coaches and their background is either offense or defense, and they want to call plays or call the defense, and you know they're buried in their book instead of looking at the game. I give Gundy a lot of credit for bringing Holgorsen in.
You could see Bo Pelini walking off the field, and he come out to really kind of gab at the officials, but oh, this is a beautiful kick. And he was talking about that 12th man in the field, but with the timeout call, they don't get penalized. And here's Paul, going to break it open, down the sideline, lost his balance and stepped out of bounds.
Well, Niles Paul needs to show up with his mean face on every week at practice. Because that's Sean Watson said, I'm telling you guys, he had a bad week last week. He's been so consistent until that game against Texas. I expect big things. And
60 yards and 24 on the return, 60 on the punt. So I'll tell you, every kicker in this ball game, be it Oklahoma State or Nebraska, these guys are putting on a show today. But now the return people are putting on a show as well.
You know, and here's the hard part. If you're defending Nebraska with 2:15 left and 1 timeout, you'd expect pass most of the time. But with Taylor Martinez, you still have to worry about the quarterback draw and lead run for him as well.
Well, Martinez holds on to the ball and throws it in the flat. And that's McNeil. Wow. That is a really good one-on-one tackle by Markel Martin.
And you run that because McNeil is headed for the sideline, thinking if he catches it, pick up 6 or 7 and get out of bounds, but he did not.
Burkhead at tailback. They'll fake it to him. Martinez deep over the middle. Flag is down behind the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul. Defense number 9. Illegal hands to the face. 15-yard penalty automatic. First down.
Well, that had to be in the middle of the line of scrimmage, one of the defensive line. They said number 90, and there is no number 90 listed.
Maybe Ricchetti, number 99.
Or big penalty.
Chinasa. He's 91. Anyway, we'll double check. Burkhead remains in the ballgame at tailback. Big first down, Nebraska, from the OSU 47-yard line. Martinez going to go long. Caught inside, no, incomplete. Came down and dropped it. Niles Paul.
Boy, Cornhusker fans watching on TV, this reminds them of last week. It's almost exact same type of ball. Just lost it for a second, didn't catch it cleanly, and the ball and the ground knocks it out. That's a tough drop. That was a nice throw by Taylor Martinez.
Quarterback draw. And here comes a flag in, and that's going to be offensive holding. Austin Gent was credited with making the tackle on
Holding. Offense, number 58, 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Mike Caputo, the center, junior out of Omaha, is the guy who was flagged.
You know, those drops like they had last week against Texas, sometimes they can creep in a little bit and people start getting in their head. I'm sure that ball hung up there so long that you just lock up, you get in your brain a little bit. And as a coaching staff, you want to work on it, but if you continue to focus on it, sometimes you can just perpetuate it.
McNeil. Boy, I'll tell you, he got by the defensive back, and he was very lonely. Out of bounds at the Oklahoma State 24. That's good for 33 yards.
A good read by Taylor Martinez. Had time, had to wait, and he knew McNeil was going to come late on that corner route. All of those receivers were bunched together. McNeil got lost.
Clock stopped with the going out of bounds. 1:06 to play until halftime. Martinez hands it off to Burkhead. Turns the corner at the 15, and he's down to the 10-yard line. And I got to be very frank, I am surprised this young man has not been given the football more in this first half. I think he's another one that one man doesn't tackle him. Saw him all last year, then he was, I thought at times, devastatingly good.
Well, Lou's been running hard too. They got to share it some, but now you've got that first and goal, 59 seconds with the timeout. It's all the time in the world, so your full complement is open to you right now. Don't waste too much time if someone gets tackled before the goal line, but you're okay.
First and goal. Martinez got a man at the 3. Flag comes down into the end zone now. Let's see if the touchdown counts. Brandon Kinney on the receiving end.
Personal foul. Defense, number 95. Illegal hands to the face. 15-yard penalty to be assessed on the kickoff. Touchdown.
Chris Donaldson, illegal hand to the face.
Second time on this drive. But Taylor Martinez, you know, last week, second touchdown for Kenny on the day. Last week when we were watching him on film, he really had a tough time in the pocket, settling his feet down. That time, got back and just fired it right over to Kenny. Nice throw.
Extra point attempt is perfect by Henry. So the Huskers are right back on top. And let's see, 58 points in the first half.
That's it?
Well, right now, let's take a look at today's Good Hands Play, brought to you by Allstate.
Well, just a sophomore. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more good hands plays by Justin Blackman. Great adjustment. He's got such good body control. You know, his body control, and we talked to the coaches about last week against Texas Tech. He had a catch on the sideline that was barely fit in. And just the concentration to not only catch it as the safety flash before him, but to stay in bounds. And Dana Holgorsen, the offensive coordinator, was saying we ran that back and back and back, and just has amazing body control. You saw it against Texas Tech there, and on that long catch against the Mukamara.
Kanalik with the kick.
Good job coming back to the ball, working one-on-one against the guy who Mel Kiper says is the third best player in college football going into next April's draft. And right now, the sophomore is getting the better of the senior.
Hard to say at halftime, asbestos might be a good idea as far as a jacket. Combined 601 yards in this half. He's going to go for the money on this one, and it is overthrown. Double coverage that time. Denard back there with Blackman.
You've got 48 seconds with one timeout. Why wouldn't you try to take that shot? It's been paying off. And now you've got to be careful if you're a Mukamara, because you know they're starting to go to the long ball. Now what you can try is like you're going to run by him and then run a deep out or a comeback beyond the sticks.
They keep it on the ground, and Hunter will go for a couple, and that's about it. 40 seconds down to 39. Jared Crick just made the tackle, and I'll tell you officially, that's only the second tackle that Jared has in this ball game. They've done a pretty good job of holding him at bay.
A little surprised Oklahoma State looks like they're going to run this out. You know, you're down 4. And with that timeout, I know you're deep in your own territory, but this is a little out of character for Mike Gundy.
Pass thrown incomplete, and now 1 tick left on the clock. That was for Wilson Human.
And you don't punt this thing away. You take the snap and take a knee because, well, we've already seen what happens when Niles Paul has the ball in his hands on a special team. But you just kind of get into your victory formation and kneel it down.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do. He'll take a knee that runs the clock out, and we are at halftime. I hope you enjoyed the first half of Gone with the Wind, because I'll tell you what, it was darn exciting. And let's go down to the sideline. Yeah. Janine with Coach Pelini.
Coach, what does a last-minute touchdown do this like for you guys just going into the half?
That was good. It was big for us. I mean, it gives us some momentum. We get the ball to start the second half, and got us a chance to settle down a little bit. You know, crazy atmosphere here, and a little bit of, you know, just got to make some plays. You know, they're just throwing the ball up at times, and we're not playing the ball well.
Well, you wanted to keep the Cowboys a little bit more one-dimensional. After a sticky start, Whedon seems to have found his rhythm. How can you better disrupt that rhythm in the second half?
You got to make plays. We're there to make plays on the football. You got to do it. Thank you.
See you second half, Coach.
So at halftime, our score is Nebraska 31, Oklahoma State 27. This is ESPN College Football presented by Kay Jewelers. And our score is Nebraska 31 and the Cowboys of Oklahoma State 27. And our high-profile player of the first half, Ed wants to call it Ron's half a game ball.
I think we can give him a full one.
I started to say for 146 yards on 17 first half carries, I can promise you this, the 147, that's yards because, folks, he won't say 146 words from now until next Saturday.
Very
really
quiet young man.
Now this kick is going to go 10 yards deep in the end zone. And what we were talking about, I told him I had a I had a friend in college that we called Words because he never spoke. And I think Words is probably the best nickname you could give Kendall Hunter. Just what he does on the field does his talking. But he is truly outstanding. And I think the coaches need to be congratulated on their decision to play 2 other guys and give him more rest.
Yeah, they've got to get him off the field, and you're going to see the exact same thing for Oklahoma State. So the question becomes, and I know Bo Pelini said, we were in position to make some plays on defense, but they've got to shore up their run defense. Those guys were getting blocked up front. They weren't getting off blocks. To me, that's the only way they're going to slow it down is if they can slow Hunter down.
Martinez. Well, if you allow him to break contain, you're going to give up yardage, and that's just what happened. Janine, let's check with you.
Well, Ron, I spoke to Coach Mike Gundy at halftime, and he told me, special teams has made a big difference in this game, too. Let's not forget. He said Nebraska has 14 points on special teams. We just need to do a better job there. He also said we need to do a better job wrapping up and playing tighter inside against Martinez. We've got to stop that run. But offensive coordinator Dana Holgerson is happy. He told me, I love these high-scoring games, man. They're entertaining.
Of course he does.
He's the only one that does. Well, the ball is finally handed off way downfield handed to Niles Paul.
This is the second time Martinez has done this where he kind of flips the ball. Remember the first one, he flipped it in a passing play, and this one, well, take that back. Niles Paul was in sync to run that option, kind of a neat little option play with a wide receiver, and Paul just stopped and didn't expect the ball. Had he continued on his route, he probably would have gained even more yardage. And I think Gundy is upset because he felt like that was a forward pass.
That could come into play.
There's Paul getting into position to be the option man. Yeah, that looked forward to me. Now, the problem is, again, it's about angles, right? And it's impossible for us to have a camera on every single yard line, but that certainly did look like it was forward, which with all of the linemen downfield, that would be an illegal man downfield. So I think Gundy was right to complain, but of course the officials upstairs had already stopped it. And the way you can tell is where is Martinez? Stop it right there. He is, let's call that, he's 2 yards beyond the line. And where does that ball end up?
It hit him at 3 yards beyond the line.
Yeah, it sure looks like. The only reason I think that they may not overturn this is, again, you're not right on it. It's not 100% clear, and it's supposed to be indisputable video evidence. But to me, a lot of evidence pointed to that being a forward lateral, illegal forward pass.
And the reason we try our best to be correct on terminology, because some people still use the term lateral. There is no lateral. Has not been in the rule book now for, 6-7 years. It's like a legal procedure. There is none. So undoubtedly they're trying to make sure they have it indisputable.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're looking at it. I spent a quarter in the replay booth during a spring game at Oregon, and it is tough sometimes, especially there, because again, you may think, this does look like it's forward, but you can't think that. It's got to be, this is clearly forward. Not quite sure which way they'll go.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Green Court pass.
And again, the language there is the ruling on the field stands, not it's confirmed, because what they're saying is we can't tell. And I think that was probably the right thing to do, to not overturn it. And I know Gundy's upset about that, but it's just because we can't have a camera on every yard line.
But the best thing you can tell people to give them a better understanding is if they don't say confirmed, then they don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Martinez throwing. Got him in and hits him complete at the 48-yard line. That's Niles Paul. Well, time to take a look at our first half. Stats brought to you by Pacific Life.
Well, it's unbelievable. Oklahoma State on pace to run 90 plays. If you go back in time, if you got 60 or 70 plays, you were really happy as an offense. But these guys go at such speed. starts to wear those defenses down. Of course, sitting there with 27 points at half, that's why.
Well, after this play, we'll show you the defensive leaders. Pass over the middle, complete to Niles Paul again. And that's a chunk of about 17 more yards. Here are the defensive leaders for Nebraska. Gomes, 7 tackles, 5 solo. Jared Crick, 2 tackles and a sack. And for Oklahoma State, McGee, 4 tackles. Hugo Chinesa, 2 tackles and a sack. So Chinesa, one of the leaders on the defense. Right now, they keep it on the ground. First time, and after the first 3 plays are pass plays. Halu, the ball carrier, and James Thomas on the stop.
One of the things in talking to Sean Watson about Taylor Martinez, he's not a pure passer. It's something he's just going to have to work on his entire career. But I've liked some of the things I've seen. He looks better with his feet. He was really choppy with his feet in the pocket. He seemed to hold on to the ball. It seems like he's made some strides after last week's tough outing.
Quarterback draw. Martinez, he will bait you inside and then Powell to the outside. What he wants to do, obviously, is turn the corner, and he has a speed once he gets to the corner that you can't catch him. And then Ricky Henry, number 74, with a good block on the play to help out his quarterback, Taylor Martinez.
His acceleration reminds me of when Jake Locker first started playing at Washington. And he just, those first couple of steps, just they're so much faster than you expect. He just has great acceleration.
Play action, corner of the end zone, got him in, and the ball is just a little too strongly thrown. Johnny Thomas got a hand up and tipped it. Junior out of Texas City, Texas, and that, of course, was Cotter Reed, who he was trying to reach.
And this ball just thrown a touch too late. Wow, what wonderful coverage there by Thomas. But that ball thrown just a touch late. Reed was coming open in the corner route, and Martinez just held on to it for a click too long.
Blitz coming off the corner, and they throw the pass complete to Halu, and Halu will take it to the 15-yard line. Gent and Brown combining on the stop for the Cowboys. Clock runs 11:30 to play, third quarter. And simply because not as many clock stoppages because of dropped passes or incomplete, but because they have completed so many on this drive that the drive is taking up a little time. This is the 9th play of the drive for Nebraska as they open the second half. Fade route this side of the end zone, and the ball incomplete. Brandon Kenny, the intended receiver, and it was Broderick Brown with the cover.
Brown just had great coverage right from the start. You could tell that that was where they were looking, and they're not going to call that when both guys. And Brown did a wonderful job there. Just a wonderful job as Kenny tried to pull him by, holding his ground. And guy who's played really well for them since the bowl game last year.
Field goal attempt of 32 yards. And as you might imagine, that he's got plenty of that enough. He almost knocked a hole in the wall down there. It's good at 34-27. Eskimo Joe's, folks, that's their famous chili cheese fries.
And I would recommend you get the chili cheese fries with bacon. Well, bacon makes everything.
And I would recommend the other part of the order is one Pronasec, please.
They're Thursday night. Every time we're in Stillwater, I try to go.
Kanalik prepares to kick it off. 34-27. Nebraska back on top. Late in the second quarter, Oklahoma State took the lead, and then the Huskers came right back. This is a high spinner, but it's going to be returnable from the 2, Joseph Randall. And Randall will be stopped at the 21. Well, tonight the Oklahoma Sooners try to remain atop the BCS standings when they head to Columbia, Missouri, and they face the 11th ranked undefeated Tigers. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC at 8 Eastern. That's 5 o'clock Pacific.
Those are 4 of the 10 undefeated teams that are playing each other. Of course, Auburn playing LSU today as well.
Hunter with the carry, and he'll go for short yardage. Whedon, by the way, started the day 0 of 5. Then he went 11 of 15 with 1 touchdown, 200 yards, and as we mentioned, a touchdown, and he did have an interception. Whedon, they like that crossing route, and this time it doesn't work, though. Josh Cooper really gets hit hard by Haig. Haig has an interception in the ball game.
That was really good coverage. You know, watching the film of Oklahoma State against Texas Tech, we were blown away by how many of those crossing routes they ran. And that time Haig was on Cooper the whole way. It's a long way to go to cross the field, and you're hoping that the defender gives up half a step or more on the way across.
Oklahoma State in third downs, 1 of 6 this afternoon. Hunter in motion, looking, gets the pass away. It is caught, and that's going to be close. No, it's not. It's going to be short by about 1.5 yards. Bo Bowling made the reception, a senior out of Tonkawa, Oklahoma, and it was Levante David on the stop.
That was a nice job by Nebraska finally getting a little bit of pressure, making Whedon move his feet. If you let that guy stay in the pocket, you can see what he did. Those stats that you read, but that time they made him shuffle a little bit.
Well, here's the boot. A high wobbly spiral. Fair catch is signaled for and made. And he's fortunate he held on to it. Niles Paul had it hit him in the face mask. We will be right back. The Delta Tau Delta fraternity at Oklahoma State has put on a carnival to raise money for the Coaches Against Cancer charity, and they have raised over $10,000 each of the past 2 years.
You need to start giving out some rock climbing boots. Those don't look like they're made for climbing.
Those are Western wear. That's right. That's Western climbing. Blitz coming off the corner, and they go the opposite direction. And Burkhead gets hit in the backfield, and they'll lose a yard on that play. That's Sean Lewis.
Of course, Lewis, one of the heroes of the Texas A&M game. He had that interception that led to the field goal by Dan Bailey. Wonderful Thursday night game that went back and forth here a few weeks ago.
Clock about to go under 9 minutes to play, third quarter. 601 first half yards by these two teams. Pass drilled, and it is knocked away with the collision. Brandon Kenny, the intended receiver. Markel Martin was there. And if the Cowboys had had anyone in the vicinity, they might have had an opportunity for a tipped ball interception.
Now for Nebraska, this offense with Martinez not really made for 3rd and 11. And, I would think quarterback draw here for Taylor Martinez.
Well, Nebraska in third down, it's 2 of 9. Martinez throws the ball, good on the comeback. That's Niles Paul. It was a Brandon Kenny. Well, Niles Paul good for 19 yards, picking up the first down.
And a tough deal for Niles Paul. Look, he's in the shade, and then as soon as he goes to make his break and looks back to the ball, that's tough.
He's in the bright sunshine.
Yeah, that's really tough. As that ball was traveling, you could see it change from the dark to the light, and that's hard. As your head is turned, you come around, you've got to find a ball that's in the shade, and then the sun is right in your eyes. Nice job by Paul making the adjustment.
There's another one out in the far flat, complete. Niles Paul, and he is hit immediately. Janine, let's check with you on the sideline.
Well, Ron, after the first offensive series by the Husker, offensive line coach Barney Cotton sat his guys down and very, very positively was trying to keep the momentum up. He said, guys, a heck of a way to start the second half. A great drive. That could have been a touchdown. Remember, no more field goals. I only want to see 6s.
Niles Paul, 5 catches in the second half. He only had 1 in the first half. That's Burkhead, and he's close to the first down. As Andrew McGee knocked his feet out from under him, and he's going to be short by about a yard.
I was just going to say, when you're playing Oklahoma State in this offense, you don't want a whole lot of field goals when you get a chance. You've got to convert them. You know, this feels to me like a play action time. 3rd and short. Why not see if you can get one? You've got 2 receivers, Kenny and Paul, coming down here.
Well, let's see. Well, Martinez going to, how about a quarterback fake and keeper right up the middle. Johnny Thomas makes the stop on him, but he'll move the chains plus 2 or 3 yards.
And Martinez, you know, the coaches were asked all week. He got benched last week against Texas. How do you think he's going to bounce back? They kept saying, we've been here. He's had a couple of tough games this year. He's always worked. He's going to be okay. He's starting to look like he's fine. He looks like the guy that we had seen against Kansas State and Washington earlier in the year.
After the play action, going to go long, and he has a man there for a touchdown. And it's Kyler Reed, the tight end.
Kyler Reed lined up right here is just going to run down the middle of the field and run a post. And that's a corner. I mean, that's a good matchup. That's Andrew McGee, but this is a guy, Reed, that Sean Watson said, we've known he's had a lot of ability, and finally last spring and into this fall, he's starting to play up to that ability we saw, and you'd expect that to be much better coverage with a corner, but he ran right by him.
Extra point attempt is up, and it is good. In fact, specifically what he said, he's really found himself finally, which has paid dividends for the Huskers, and they extend that lead now to 41-27. One more look at it, and the touchdown pass to Kyler Reed. Martinez on the sideline after directing another touchdown drive, and he threw that one perfectly to his tight end. So we prepare to kick it off, and it's 41-27. See if the Cowboys can come back on this one. At the goal line, Randall. The Cowboys are fighting to climb back into contention as Tony Romo leads Dallas against Eli Manning and the Giants on ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins 7 o'clock Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Whedon gives it to Hunter, and Hunter's going to have close to 5 yards on the carry.
And as much as Nebraska, I mean, they've come out and just looked fantastic on offense in the second half. And Oklahoma State, they don't.
Middle, another one of those crossing routes. Justin Blackman on the receiving end, and got it complete.
And how much different does that look than what we saw on tape against Texas Tech, who ran mostly zone? So those crossing routes, guys were running free. Now you get a little more man-to-man play in Nebraska. Haig, that's the second time in a row where he's right on that route.
Third down, Bryant Ward comes into the ball game at fullback to block for Kendall Hunter. They need to take this just across the 43 to get the first. And here's Hunter. Got a blocker in front. Little jip step, and he's off. 40, 35, and down to around the 32-yard line. Eric Haig on the tackle for Nebraska.
Well, we were talking to Dana Holgorsen about Kendall Hunter, and he said one of the things that he wanted him to do was make more people miss in the secondary. He's good at the line of scrimmage, and right there, just an unbelievable move.
28 yards on that carry, and a nice block by Bryant Ward. And straight ahead this time is Joseph Randall. Jared Crick on the stop. Well, Oklahoma State sometimes comes to the line very quickly, and you think, well, here they go. They're going to snap it. This time they paused for just a little bit. Whedon's pass near sideline, and boy, the receiver probably, Michael Harrison probably should have made it, and it was almost intercepted by Denard.
You'd mentioned earlier that Harrison in there, because of his size, put to the outside, and both he and Blackman on the other side ran go routes. But you're right, Denard had that ball in his hands and almost made the interception.
Third down. Whedon throws it far sideline, and he got Josh Cooper, and the reason he got it is because the defensive back got turned around and lost where the football was.
Well, there's Cooper working one-on-one against a nickelback Haig. Another underthrow by Whedon. Good body control by Cooper to come back. It's almost impossible to cover that underthrow.
Well, you're right. It is first down, and very quickly back to Hunter. Left side, inside the 5-yard line, driving, and stopped at the 1-foot line. P.J. Smith will make the tackle. Oh, man.
And I think Hunter's saying, just give it to me again. Roll that same play, and I'll finish this one.
Yeah.
I'll finish it myself.
I'm like the energy bunny here. Just give it to me. And so they do just that. He goes to the right side, and just like that, he scores.
Maybe he'll be an offensive coordinator when he's done with football.
I'll tell you what, he's headed for a really, really big day. With what, 147 at halftime?
Yeah.
Dan Bailey with the extra point attempt. Orange shoes and all, and he whacks it home. Hunter on the drive carried it 4 times for 41 yards and the touchdown.
Well, he has such good burst. He's 5'8", 200 pounds. Built a lot like Jacquizz Rodgers up at Oregon State, but he runs with more power. You know, a lot of times you think a guy this short is small, but he's not. He's very thick. He's got good burst through the line. And look at him just, and with guys, P.J. Smith hanging onto that ball, he won't quit and just stuffs it up in. You know, sometimes as a running back, there's not much of a hole there like there wasn't right there. And he plays with great pad level. He's over 1,000 yards. This is the second time in his career. He had over 1,500 back in 2008. And of course, last year just could not get, he had a broken bone in his foot. He just couldn't get over it.
You know, the interesting thing, you watch him on the sidelines as we did there just a moment ago. And other guys, when they do something well, then they go over and they've got high fives and a lot of talk with their teammates. That's not Hunter. That's what we were talking about a while ago when I said if I gave him a nickname, it'd be Words, because he just never thinks he has to just burn somebody's ear up with conversation they don't want to hear or he doesn't want to give.
812 yards with 3:29 left in the third quarter combined. That's insane.
Well, this kick is going to go about 5 yards deep in the end zone, so it'll come out to the 20.
And here's another stat. Oklahoma State has scored 34 or more points in every game this year. And no offense to the teams before, but they didn't have a defense like Nebraska. So I think a lot of people wondering what was Oklahoma State going to be able to do offensively. against this Nebraska defense. Well, we're getting our answer now.
Now listen to the crowd. Everybody's really getting pumped up about this. Electronic football. Who's going to score next? Martinez hands it off. Alou will turn the corner. It's the man, and a flag goes down.
Yeah, they're going to get Yoshi Hardrick, the left tackle. He's been bouncing in and out of there with Searles. He held Chennasaw pretty clearly.
Offense, number 50, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
You got a young left tackle as he goes to reach. At some point, you have to make the decision. I've got to let him go. See the left hand? He's got to make the decision to let him go. And Alou probably makes it around there.
Yeah.
If he lets it go, and Alou with a little bit of a hurdle that gets.
Well, Hendricks got to find out at 6'7", 320, you can't hide.
No.
And his stance is a tad high anyway.
Yes, it is.
He is out of Batesville, Mississippi, played at South Panola High School, which puts a lot of young guys into Division I football. Martinez keeps it. Has 5, has 10, loose again. And finally stopped at the 31-yard line. Broderick Brown will make the tackle. And right now, all I can tell you is I have a feeling that it's going to be the defensive coordinator, Bill Young, who's going to be fussing at his players about not wrapping up and missing tackles.
Well, Martinez has really run hard. That time went through a couple of arm tackles. We saw him earlier in the game run through a tackle from Ori Lemon, who's one of the surest tackles in the conference. Tacklers in the conference. These are the numbers you start to expect from Martinez, not what he had last week against Texas.
There's Bill Young on the sideline. Martinez throws the ball, has it batted in the air. Whoa, it's dangerous. Chennasaw got a hand on it, and any time all those defensive ends, obviously, when they bat it in the air, you just pray it doesn't come down in the direction that they're running and they get a free touchdown. It's like a basketball player blocking an inbounds pass.
Well, and this is a guy, Shane Jarka, who's been battling a knee injury. See that brace on his right leg. Already had surgery this year.
Let's check in New York with Robert Flores. Robert?
All right, Ron, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, presented by Sprint. In a season filled with signature runs, here's another one by Cam Newton. Second touchdown of the day. Number 4 Auburn leads number 6 LSU 17-10 at home. John Clay has 2 touchdowns for undefeated Wisconsin. Badgers lead number 15 Iowa on the ROAD 24-20.
Well, let's see. Where is that Iowa game? Is how much time is left? 10 minutes and 16 seconds in the fourth quarter.
And Iowa just scored.
I started to say, they're in Iowa City, and having been there, and see, I think is one of the decided home field advantages anywhere, and not surprising that they came right back. And Iowa plays the style of football that is perfect for the way that stadium is configured and what their fans are looking for. That is definitely a black and blue game. Ed and I talked about that yesterday.
Jarka, one of the 4 fifth-year seniors on defense, and a guy who they expected a big year out of him. He worked so hard, and he's just really been battling injuries. And with a defense that's 92nd in the country, you can't be losing too many of those big body guys in the middle.
Keeper Burkhead out there trying to block. He gets mauled. But if he had waited for his blocker, at least he might have picked up something, and he certainly would have been tackled the way he was, because Chennasaw got him and got him pretty good.
And that's the thing that, you take the bad with the good with a quarterback like this, because he's got to try hard, but eventually as his career goes on, he's going to have to learn how to just get down. When it's not there, just don't take those extra hits.
That's right. You don't have to take the body bruises that didn't have to be there. Third down, line to make is up to the 41. Looking now back to this side and has it complete to Niles Paul. It'll be short of the first down. They made up some ground, okay.
Well, that was a really good job. I'm really impressed with Martinez, how much better he looks in the pocket today than he did last week against Texas. And, no offense to Oklahoma State, Texas, one of the better defenses in the conference. And Oklahoma State having its struggles this year, but that time he went through every progression and did a good job.
Third punt of the afternoon by Nebraska. And Henry's kick, that's a good one. This is into the wind, and he still belted it. Cooper got by one, and now here comes a flag in. Another flag is across the way, so if that's for a block in the back and the flags are thrown at the 12-yard line, it's not good news as far as where your starting position is going to be if you're Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they got Broderick Brown. He was right at the return man when he blocked Ricky Tenarson.
Illegal block in the back. Return team number 19. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Joseph Randall in the game at tailback. And they scrimmage from their own 4-yard line. I think a little miscommunication there as far as where quarterback was throwing and where receiver Bowling was expected to be. So that'll stop the clock with 46 seconds left in the third quarter.
Whedon was lucky to get that off when he did. Meredith was coming free. Been a safety.
Kendall Hunter. Hunter's not going to get much. It'll be third down. I kind of wondered when they came out on first down and Joseph Randall was there, and I thought, a freshman might be easy to try to grip it a little too hard and drop it down here. So they put the veteran Kendall Hunter in the lineup. Third down. Got to take it to the 15 to be able to keep this one going. Well, they just threw that one away. They had a crossing route with Cooper, and Josh kind of pulled up on the route.
Yeah, and then he was looking in Bowling's direction, and when Bowling went to make a cut, he fell down. But those were two pass plays, and you see Holgerson and Whedon talking about that. Those were two pass plays that looked like there was miscommunication somewhere on that drive.
Fourth punt of the afternoon, and this one a low liner. Going to hit at the 45, and now, because he let it bounce, going to have to run away from it. Niles Paul, and it cost him about another 10 or 12 yards. Big 12 today. If you haven't seen them, if you're a Longhorn fan, wow, it's a tough one. 28-21. First time in the history of Iowa State that they won in Austin. 24-24. Tech and Colorado in the fourth. K-State and Baylor knotted up in the second quarter. And the reason that one is so long is a 2-hour rain delay. Texas A&M at Kansas tonight, and of course Oklahoma and Missouri tonight. One of our premier games. And here's Martinez. Sean Lewis. So that's the end of the third quarter. And as we head to the final 15, Martinez on this touchdown pass to his tight end, Kyler Reed. And then this very, very tough run by Hunter.
And welcome back to Stillwater. College football lives here.
Well, the young men and women of Oklahoma State, their cheering squad, and we prepare to start this fourth quarter. We're going to let them run a play here, and then we'll come back and have a couple of comments about what happened in the third. And Burkhead makes the catch, and it's going to be a loss of about 3 yards on the play. Ed, 841 yards through 3 quarters of play.
It's not the big 8, is it?
Am I dreaming?
Yeah, I know.
I know. Oh, my.
But Oklahoma State, you know, they've been back and forth. Their offense is playing great. They have not been able to stop Nebraska here in the second half. And, you know, the way at third and long, maybe this is their chance.
Well, Martinez drops to throw, now zings it away, and that's a nice catch by McNeil.
Oh, there's the 841 yards. And the kickoff return yards, let's not forget, there's a 100-yard touchdown return in there for Niles Paul. And that gives Nebraska their lead right now. But what a wonderful catch by Mike McNeil on that third down.
Well, he never broke stride, just reached back and got it. And the straight ahead run is going to have about 4 yards. That's a Lou. Ori Lemon with the stop.
And I would think that Bo Pelini maybe had a little chat with Sean Watson before this drive. Let's not slow down. Let's not stop the momentum. Keep mixing the run pass. But with Halou and Rex Burkhead and Martinez, the three guys who all can carry the ball well, let's run some clock here. I'm not telling you to pull off the dogs, but let's eat some of that up.
Lemon made that last tackle. He has 5 on the afternoon. Martinez gets the ball away, and it is caught at the 35 by Niles Paul.
Wow.
Janine, let's check down with you very quickly.
Well, guys, you have been noticing how much crisper and more in control Taylor Martinez looks. Barney Cotton, the offensive line coach, told his guys, keep helping because our young kid is growing up today.
Well, the tackle is broken, and then a good second and third effort by Roy Halou. And that's Markel Martin who will wind up making a stop. But what was virtually no gain on the play, he's going to wind up with a pickup of about 4.
And that was interesting. Nebraska going for that hurry up there. Obviously, we've seen Oklahoma State doing it all day, but Nebraska is a huddling team. I wonder if they just had something in their plan somewhere. They said, hey, we're going to try a couple of times to go up quick. It's a little out of character for them.
Well, Martinez will keep it. Slipped one tackle, but not the second. And he's short of the first down by a couple. Markel Martin again.
The one thing that Martinez has done today better than I have seen him do in the past is run through arm tackles. And I think that Barney Cotton, as Janine said, might be right. This young man seeming more and more comfortable. He's looked good in the pocket.
So let's see what they do on third down. They need to take it to the 25-yard line. 41-34, Nebraska on top. Martinez rolls the pocket, throws it, and not so fortunate this time. Threw it behind Brandon Kinney, and Kinney was unable to come up with a catch like Mike McNeil did a moment ago. In fact, the passes were thrown almost identically.
You know, at the end of the line of scrimmage there, Roy Halou went for a cut block, and he missed it. If he would have gotten that block, Martinez could have tucked it and picked up the first down, but instead he had to try to force one in.
So it means that Henry will come off the bench and attempt a 45-yard field goal from the near hash mark. Good pass, plenty of distance and plenty of accuracy. 44-34, our new score. 11:39 left in our ball game. You know, quarterbacks by comparison.
For Taylor Martinez, 287 passing yards, almost doubling his career high, which was 150 out at the University of Washington, and 102 yards rushing. A lot of that is yardage after contact. He's run very hard today.
Well, if you have joined us late, the last 5 Oklahoma State drives ended in punt, then halftime, then punt, then touchdown, and another punt. We'll see if the Cowboys can get something going here. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, for Nebraska, its fans and coaches, everybody seen Taylor Martinez look better in the pocket today. There he finds Kenny for his second touchdown in the game. Has to be a sigh of relief after a tough outing against Texas. And then Kendall Hunter, I don't know what else you can say about how hard he's running. 2 touchdowns for him today as well.
Nebraska showing blitz, and running play is not going to go for much. Gomes with the tackle on Hunter. 11:30 left to play in our ball game.
Yeah, for Oklahoma State, down 2 scores. They're normally in a hurry up, so this is nothing new, but they are going to have to go a little faster, because when Nebraska gets the ball back, who knows how long they're going to keep it.
Whedon up the near sideline, and the ball is overthrown. O'Kamara, a lot better job that time. He made sure that he didn't have somebody getting a couple of steps on him. Tracy Moore was the man they were looking for.
Well, you know, it's amazing, because the guy who was coming in with the higher ranking for as a cornerback was O'Kamara, but they have not even really tried much to the other side.
They really haven't.
Yeah.
Whedon pass over the middle, and again, that is a ball that got tipped. Whedon has only 3 of 9 for 31 yards.
And Cooper. Fans here wanted pass interference, and I can see why. Anthony West got away with one there. Stuck his hand out and stopped the progress of Cooper.
Now this is a great boot right here. Fair catch is signaled for and made. They're going to say officially at the 23-yard line by Niles Paul. Well, that's our senior video operator, Don Deloff. He's in charge of making sure that the color and exposure matches from all of our cameras in varying light environments, just like he's had here today. In fact, in Stillwater, we had cloud cover for the most of the day, and then the bright sunshine came out in the second half. Hey, Lou. And he's going to pick up the first down out at the 30-yard line. The storyline so far in this one, how about these totals? 78 points, 883 yards, 5 combined touchdown passes. Kendall Hunter, 193, 2 touches. Justin Blackman, 132 and a touchdown. And Taylor Martinez, 389 yards.
287 through the air after a difficult game last week against Texas. It's going to go a long way in helping with the development of this young talent.
Martinez finally recocked, and boy, that was a great job of playing possum by Markel Martin. He played off the ball and came up beautifully, and then it was just high enough that he couldn't make the pickoff, but he certainly did a good job of disguising where he was going to be.
Yeah, that's, you got to be careful. Young quarterbacks, as they go to scramble, a lot of times they will lose sight of those safeties. See, he's got to come down, and he just never saw number 10 trailing Niles Paul. It's something you have to correct when you go into film tomorrow afternoon.
Martinez not only going to have the first down, he almost broke it for much bigger yardage. Martin finally made the tackle for the Cowboys. Now the dangerous thing is that clock in this half has moved a lot quicker because of completed passes and running plays. And right now it's at 9:40. And with the Huskers with a 10-point lead, you can't let them really get on the board. Certainly no more than 3.
And remember, at halftime, Oklahoma State had run 10 more offensive plays than Nebraska. Well, that's completely flipped now, where Nebraska has 65 to Oklahoma State 62 because of their ball control in the second half.
Elo takes it straight ahead, and that's good for 3 yards. Rashedi Jones, junior out of Dallas, made the tackle.
Down 6.
In fact, I think this is definitely part of the plan by Bo Pelini. If we do throw, let's throw the short stuff, or let's keep it on the ground and just keep melting that clock, because particularly if they were to get another touchdown on this drive, Cowboys would be hard pressed to come up with enough points to answer. Burkhead comes off the left side and is going to take it to the 49.
And Burkhead, a young man we talked to this week, and he wants to be a history teacher and a coach once football's done, and he was talking about his class. He came from U.S. history after 1877, and he said, my Professor Berg, is such a high-energy guy, it's hard not to learn. Everything he says, you pay attention to.
Interesting how he got to Nebraska, though. His father's an FBI agent, and a guy that he played with high school football in Plano. The father thought he was really a candidate always, and he's the man that kept supplying the film to Nebraska. As Martinez gets by the blitz and then throws it complete, and that is Kyler Reed. Robert Flores, let's check back with you in New York City.
Well, Ron, Taylor Martinez having a great game. Another quarterback, Ricky Dobbs, AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. He led Navy to a win over Notre Dame today. And Navy in that option offense, they haven't lost a fumble since week 1. You can text VOTE to 345-345 to take part and for a chance at a trip to the national championship game. Ron.
Okay, Robert. Boy, Navy.
To not lose a fumble for that long running that offense is just,
it's incredible.
Hard to believe.
Yep. Straight ahead. Nope. Burkhead with a nice job of the fake, but Martinez holds on to the football and he gets ridden all the way out of bounds. Chanasa given credit for the stop, and they're going to say loss of a couple of yards in the play. So now second down.
Loss of 3.
Yeah, it was the father of a friend of his who kept making sure that, because he was a big Cornhusker fan. Well, the Cornhusker coaches obviously became very interested, and they offered him a scholarship, and that's the reason that Rex is there now. And, the school they played at was Plano East outside of Dallas. Short drop, quick throw, and it is caught by Niles Paul at the 30-yard line. Now that's short of the first down. So it's going to be third down, and they will need about 6 yards for the first.
You know, the other thing we were talking to Rex Burkhead about, of course, Nebraska going to the Big Ten next year. He said, you know, I am a little sad that we're not going to be playing down in the state of Texas like we would if we're in the Big 12, but certainly looking forward to the challenge. And I think it's kind of the entire program. Everyone follows Nebraska feels about the same way.
Ninth play, it all started back at the 19-yard line. Martinez, boy, pressure there, and I'll tell you what, a flag has just been thrown, and whether you disagree or not, Oklahoma State fans.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 89, helmet contact, 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
The ball had been delivered, and watch the blow to the head. Coming up right here.
Nigel Nicholas, yeah, and he put his hand up there. And it's not just quarterbacks. It's all of football. It's every player. You cannot target a player at the shoulders or above, and that is the right call. And
crowd doesn't like it, but
no, it was the correct call.
Anyway,
yeah.
So now the ball is at the 8.5-yard line, and it goes back to the point I was making a minute ago. Now the game clock is all the way down to 6:10. Big hit in the end zone with a touchdown. Going to be tough.
Yeah, this is a winning drive, isn't it? Yes, feels that way.
Hey, Lou. Stopped after a gain of a couple. Well, it's ABC's new drama, Detroit 187. An all-new episode airs Tuesday at 10, 9 Central on ABC, and it's being called the best new show of the season. It's about what's right when everything is going wrong.
It's kind of the way Oklahoma State's defense must feel in this second half. Just Taylor Martinez playing at a high level. Start to get Kyler Reed involved in the offense. And, a great game from Niles Paul, despite one tough drop, but he's played well.
Burkhead, left side. Good burst, and he'll take it to the 8-yard line. Martin defensively.
You know, you're sitting there if you're Nebraska, and you love that clock is melting. but what a difference a touchdown makes, a.k.a. a 3-score game versus a field goal, which keeps it a 2-score game. And, you know, we have not seen Cotton, the tight end, involved here, but they have both Reed and Cotton, 2 tight ends. Look for those guys somewhere in the end zone here.
Martinez fade route near side, and it is caught by Kenny. Brandon Kenny.
Well, that was just a wonderful job by Kenny. It couldn't have been covered any better by Broderick Brown, but Brown at 5'8" and Kenny at 6'3". Good physical. Yep, got possession of the ball. Left foot clearly in bounds.
Extra point attempt. Henry, as you can imagine, what we always say, right down the middle. So 12 plays, 81 yards, and a touchdown. And watch this fade route. Brandon Kenny, the junior out of Kansas City, makes the catch, and 51-34 our score. So we're back, homecoming in Stillwater. Right now, things are not turning out as well as the Cowboys wanted, because I'll tell you, Nebraska just simply, 4 of the last 5 possessions that they had, they have scored. And now they have pulled out to a 51-34 lead. And Cornhuskers will kick it off. And the Cornhuskers watch that clock burn off 4 minutes and 29 seconds to head back to Lincoln. Randall from the 1. Robert Flores, understand you got an Auburn update.
That's right, Ron. This game is tied at 17, Auburn and LSU, until Ontario McCaleb takes it around the left side, finds a hole, and he's gone. Pressing the X button for a little turbo boost. 70-yard touchdown run. Auburn up 24-17, 4 minutes and change in the 4th. Ron, Ed.
Wow. Thanks, Robert. We're back to live action here from the 37. Wheaton throws the ball out in the flat, but that is just really good coverage. It'll wind up being no gain on the play. Martin is there, and Haig all over him to make the tackle.
Haig is such a dynamic player for Bo and Carl Pelini. He basically plays almost like a linebacker. They only play usually with 2 linebackers in the game, and boy, he can cover underneath, can he?
Yep, he really can. Kendall Hunter. Well, college football tonight. Number 1, Oklahoma against number 11, Missouri. That's tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time, presented by Southwest Airlines. And you got a favorite in that one?
I want to see Missouri's defense against Oklahoma. I know they've been playing well, but DeMarco Murray, Ryan Broyles, they're going to see some guys like they have not seen. Doesn't mean they won't hold up. I'll be interested to see if they can. Alden Smith playing at a very high level for Missouri at defensive end.
Just got him back. You know, the one thing is DeMarco Murray is not only healthy, he has stayed healthy. And that to me is a huge difference maker, because he is such a really good, consistent player. Timeout has been called by Nebraska. We'll take it with them. 51-34. Fourth down, got to take it to the 47-yard line. Whedon straight back, got the pass over the middle, and that'll be enough for the first down to Josh Cooper. So with 3:19 to play in the ball game, they pick up a really important first down.
Well, they're going to have to go super fast. You know, you're down 17. I appreciate the effort, but oh, there was
that's Gomes. Yeah.
I did not see him go down. He was the man in coverage on Cooper. Now it's the second time Cooper's run that route where it looks like he's going to run a speed cut out, fakes like he's coming back inside, and then he throws like 3 stutter steps in there. It's just impossible to cover him when he does that. Nebraska, as they start going towards trying to win the Big 12 North, of course, they host Missouri next week, which is kind of the bad news. You know, they have not played well at home over the last couple of years. Bo Pelini and his staff trying to get that figured out, and they're going to have to, regardless of what happens for Missouri this week.
So it is first down at the 50-yard line. Clock runs again, 3:05 to play. Witten throws far sideline, got that one perfectly to Cooper. And Josh Cooper breaks the tackle, goes to the 30.
That's really coming out by Josh Cooper. Down to the 30-yard line. Here comes Cowboy. First down and 10.
Cowboys quickly back to the line of scrimmage from the 30. And he'll give it to Hunter. Hunter right up the middle. And Nebraska had enough folks that stayed at home. Gomes, who was out just a moment ago, came back into the lineup. He made the tackle.
You know, a lot of people are going to look at the first half and then the second half stats for Oklahoma State offensively, and they're going to say, wow, what great adjustments by Nebraska defensively. And I'm not saying they didn't adjust, but really the adjustment was their offense just played lights out. They were almost perfect in the second half.
That ball, his arm was hit from behind, and that's Cameron Meredith who got a hand on it. The sophomore out of Santa Ana, California.
And Meredith, a guy that talking to Carl Pelini, who's the defense coordinator and also acts as the defensive line coach. Very good technique. A little better against the run right now than he is the pass. That time a nice speed rush.
We saw him a lot last year
Martinez.
when Sue was there.
Yep.
We saw him, and he would come in and he and Steinkühler would come in and spell the two of those guys and play extremely well. Flag comes down. That's going to be holding, and the ball is caught inside the 20, but they're going to have to bring it back. I think Nick Martinez got too much of a piece of somebody.
Well, this is what you work on as a defensive lineman. On the last one,
Third down.
Meredith. On the last one, Meredith used a speed rush. Now watch this time. So Martinez is thinking, okay, he's going to use speed, but instead he comes right for a bull rush. And Martinez gets caught in his chest, and all he can do is throw Meredith down. That's a really nice changeup. You know, we were talking to Pierre Allen, and he said, well, I don't know if I'm going to use speed or bull. That time, Meredith did a nice job. Beat him speed last time. Now I'm going to run through your chest.
So with the penalty, now third down, pushes it back to the 38-yard line. Hunter. Randall, I beg your pardon, bounces it outside. He'll go down to the 25-yard line. P.J. Smith on the stop.
And, Joseph Randall. He's got 2 older brothers, and the coaches suspect it's because of those 2 older brothers. Beating on him a little bit as a young man made him so tough, but he is awfully focused.
Fourth down, obviously they're going to go for it, trailing by 17. Pass far side of the field is caught, and it's a touchdown, Blackman.
What were we talking about earlier? It's almost impossible to cover the underthrow. I mean, Haig cannot have better coverage. The only thing that you would tell Haig there is read the eyes of the receiver. When he looks back, you have to peek, because if that ball's underthrown, it's the only chance you have is read those eyes and get back and try to find that ball.
But in that case, it was a read 'em and weep as Dan Bailey kicks the extra point right through. And with 1:24 left in our ball game, 51-41 is our score. Blackman 5 receptions today, 157 yards. That's an average of almost 32 per catch and 2 touchdowns.
And the way Whedon and he are working, this is going to continue. Unbelievable. Blackman has 14 touchdown catches in this, the 7th ball game. Leads the country in scoring, averaging exactly 2 touchdowns per game.
Well, the news and notes, college football Hooked at home, yes. Iowa State defeats number 19 Texas by 7. First win ever against the Longhorns. The Buckeyes bounce back. And number 8-0. It's number 8. They're 7 in the nation. 8-0 Spartans stay perfect against Northwestern. That was a come-from-behind effort. It looked as though Northwestern was going to win that game all the way, and then Sparty came back. They found a way. 21-3. They outscored them in the fourth quarter.
And here Oklahoma State goes. Got to, right? Keep fighting right to the end.
Yep, they're going to line up for the onside kick. And there it comes, and the ball is caught in the air, and that's Ben Cotton, who went high in the air and brought it down. Robert Flores in New York. Let's check with you one more time.
All right, Ron, and check out the final play of Iowa and Wisconsin. Hawkeyes down 1, driving, trying to get in field goal range, but Adam Robinson can't get out of bounds. Hawkeyes burned a timeout just moments before, and the clock runs out. Wisconsin wins in Iowa City by 1, and it's now a final. Auburn over LSU 24-17. Cam Newton, a career-high 200-plus rushing yards.
So we are back as Burkhead makes the carry. Tell you something, folks. Here's a little piece of trivia for you. Nebraska scored 51 points without, that is without, a rushing touchdown today.
That's unbelievable. Martinez, I guess you could call this a career day. He had not passed for over 200 yards in a game and now has 323. And it has been a really nice day for Taylor Martinez. Such a difficult afternoon last week against Texas. Got benched in the second half. But look how much better his feet were there in the pocket. He hits Kenny on the slant, goes for a 45-yard touchdown. A better job of nothing's there, tuck it and go. And he just had a much better feel. That is a really good throw on the fade, put it to the outside, kept it in bounds. What a nice day for Martinez.
5-yard penalty, still second down.
I mean, I don't think we can make enough, Ron, of what we saw on film with Martinez in the pocket against Texas. His feet just, they really betrayed him in the pass game, but today he just looked,
Ed,
he learned a lot.
I thought it was a different situation. He didn't have a prayer against Texas. The way Will Muschamp's defense, I mean, if he looked left or looked right or looked straight ahead, there was somebody there not only waiting for him, but either grabbing onto him or knocking him down. He didn't have a chance to have really good feet. Did you think?
Well, I mean, there were times when he had a pocket, but you're right. I think because of all of the things Texas was doing, and the other thing, too, that Texas did a great job, Nebraska runs what's called a midline option, meaning they actually leave someone in the middle of the line unblocked. And Texas had 2 weeks to prepare. And I think that went a long way.
I don't think there's any question. What did Bill Young say to us yesterday? I said, are your eyes falling out from looking at Nebraska video? And he said, I wish I had 2 more days to look at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Bo Pelini now, with this win this afternoon, is going to run his record to 8-2 in Big 12 road games. Now, let that one absorb for a moment, but that tells you the kind of job that Mr. Pelini has done. That's 8-2 on the road in the conference. Burkhead spins around. He'll have the first down, but the most important thing is the big clock down there, which is about to go under 1 minute.
Well, and the tough thing for Bo Pelini, 7-0, 7 turnovers, and that's what he said. He said it's not like we're losing because the other team's better. We're making huge mistakes at home, and if they're going to win this conference in their last year here, they're going to have to win at home because next week, of course, they host Missouri, who's really the only threat, I think, in the North.
Well, Ed, while he's 8-2 on the road, his ball club is 5-4 in conference games at home. So maybe the question that should be asked, can fans love a team too much?
I look at what Niles Paul went through last week when his brothers almost got in a fight after the game with some things that were being said to them. He got awful messages on his Facebook page, had to take him down. I think,
but that's not love. But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think that you put that big of a microscope on these young men, and careful how they may react.
For the remaining schedule for Nebraska, Missouri, at Iowa State, Kansas, at A&M, and wrapping it up with Colorado the day after Thanksgiving. And the two coaches meet at the middle of the field, a quick handshake. And for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, about a 60-minute air ride back to Lincoln. And they got a reason to smile today. So our final score, once again, is Nebraska 51 and Oklahoma State 41. Tune in tonight for more college football with #1 Oklahoma against #11 Missouri at 8 Eastern.